Alright, I'll be honest with you, this video took me way too long to make. I even broke my glasses, but this is the ultimate Columbus, Ohio guide for 2025. We're talking about probably an hour and a half, 2 hours by the end of it, where we discuss everything. We've compiled our favorite videos and absolutely the most important things that you need to know about making that move here and actually living in Columbus, Ohio. Some videos you may have seen already, some videos may be new as well. Sit back, relax, and enjoy and watch the entire thing so you have everything set in stone.
All right, so let's get started with things that actually make Columbus feel like a place worth living. Because before we even talk about your mortgage payments, we gotta understand why people that thought they were coming here for a few months or a few years ended up staying for a few decades. Let's talk about the culture, the energy, and the unexpected coolness that catches everyone off guard. What's up, guys? It's Gagan, your favorite realtor. And let me tell it to you like this. Columbus is weird in the most amazingly fun way possible. It's like that one friend that you just know you're gonna have the most fun time with when you meet them every 6 months. Like everyone thinks that they're just moving to a sleepy Midwest town that's got some college games here and there, and then boom, we're in an underground speakeasy in German Village on a Friday. Watching indie bands at Ace of Cups on Saturday, and somehow you ended up on a rooftop yoga class in the Arena District on Sunday. It's the kind of range that we're working with here. And here's the big thing about Columbus culture that actually gets me. It's genuine. It's not trying to be Portland or Austin or any of these other big cities that people always name drop. Columbus just does its own thing. You got the Midwestern kindness woven into everything. But there's this creative undercurrent that just runs deep. People here will actually help you move your couch and invite you to your friend's art show later that night. Lifestyle here is actually quietly diverse in ways that people just never expect. You see, we have a ton of clients that reach out to us about Columbus, Ohio every single day. And here's the thing, there's different strokes for different folks, right? Everyone's got different things that they need, and Columbus has this in the best way possible. You've got the short north, where it's gallery hop and craft cocktails in converted warehouse. Then you swing over to Clintonville, and it's vintage shops, record stores, and coffee shops where people actually know your name. Columbus isn't trying to fall into this box, and that's why so many transplants that come here just absolutely love the city. And that college energy from OSU, yeah, it's everywhere, but it's not in the way that you think. It's not just football games and tailgates either. It's bringing innovation, fresh ideas, and a sense of camaraderie that really, I can't say another location has. The university keeps the city young and hungry. I mean that in the best way possible. Creative scene of this location is actually really special too. We're talking about a city where local artists can actually afford studio spaces, where musicians can book shows without selling their souls, and where writers and makers have room to breathe. It's the sweet spot of having the resources and not being completely priced out of the location. Now listen, if you're thinking that all this sounds like your kind of place, but you don't want to do it alone, my team and I, that's exactly what we do. We'd love to be your real estate resource of choice. We help people discover Columbus every single week. We know the neighborhoods, we know the hidden gems, and we know the vibrancy and frequency of these locations to ultimately make your match. If you're considering making Columbus, Ohio your next chapter, reach out to us directly. Again, all of our information is in the description below or pinned to the top of the comments. Now, culture is one thing, right? But energy is different. You feel it at the festivals, you feel it walking downtown, you feel it at the coffee bars and the shops. I'll tell it to you like this, and I'm coming from New York when I attest this message. We don't just talk about the culture here, we live it. So, because we're gonna talk about events that's gonna stick around with you for a few years. Listen, I run the Columbus Report, right, on the Instagram channel, and we actually have people that reach out to us all the time that say, listen, I'm out of the state, I got a new job here, but I wanna know more about the Ohio State Festival, what can you tell me? And these are the exact events that happen every single year, every few years, that people just can never remove from their hearts. Columbus knows how to celebrate, and I'm not just talking about events that happen maybe a few weekends here and there. I'm talking about events that make you text the group chat and say, dude, you're missing out, you gotta hurry up. If you've never been, it's basically what happens when Columbus decides to throw a 3-day block party for the entire city. Goodell Park turns into this massive celebration of music, art, and culture. And that particular brand of Columbus weirdness you just cannot fake. It's free, it's funky, and it's exactly what makes the city tick. Then there's a Short North Gallery Hop, which happens every single month. The first Saturday, the whole district transform. Art galleries stay open late, street performers pop up everywhere, food truck lines, the entire city, and honestly, it feels like the entire city comes out to see and to be seen. It's community and culture all rolled up in one night. And listen, I'll tell it to you like this, do not sleep on our festival games either. We've got Rocks on the Range. Sorry, Sonic Temple now, that's bringing massive shows. Dublin Irish Festival that's basically like visiting Ireland without the plane ticket. And the Ohio State Fair, which is the peak Midwestern summer energy with the kind of fried food combinations that shouldn't work, but absolutely do. There's 32 new foods that happened this year at the Ohio State Festival. And let me tell you, pickle fried hot dogs is one I want to try. But here's what makes Columbus so special. It's the small stuff. With the first Fridays in Franklinton where the warehouses turn into art spaces for one night. Random pop-up markets in places like Worthington or Westerville. Live music at Woodlands Tavern where people are playing for just about 30 people and you feel like you're in your buddy's mom's basement, but at the same time, you just found your new favorite band. And I say that in the best way possible. Listen, in the sports culture here, it goes beyond just football, even though we're gonna get a new professional football team. Yeah, we've got the Blue Jacket hockey team and the Columbus Crew Soccers that actually matter to people. But it's also the summer nights at Huntington Park watching the Clippers, or just catching a pickup basketball game in one of those dozens of courts that exist in the city. These events aren't just entertainment, it's how you plug into the city. It's how you meet people, find your weekend rhythm, and feel like you actually belong here instead of just living here. Something happens every single night. Makeup markets, food trucks, outdoor rallies, some kind of football game. It's things that actually make you feel connected. I'll say it like this, Columbus doesn't hibernate, it just rotates around a different kind of fun. And speaking about rotation, let's talk about what Columbus puts on your plate. Because if you thought the events were good, wait till you figure out what the city's cooking. Ask anyone that lives here, Columbus does not mess around when it comes to food. And I'm telling you this as a 6'4" amateur bodybuilder that weighs 245 pounds. I love to eat, and Columbus lets me eat. And I'm not just talking about decent restaurants, I'm talking about food scenes that punch way above its weight class and people think, wait a second, I'm in the Midwest? Food and health. Smitch in German Village with those cream puffs, they're just basically edible hugs. Thurman Cafe with burgers so big they require architectural support, and Buckeye Donuts at 2 a.m. because sometimes you just need fried dough. And that's just the life of Columbus. But here's where Columbus starts breaking your assumptions. The city honestly has serious range. You want elevated dining? We've got the Refectory doing French cuisines that would make Paris naan with approval. Lindsay's in German Village serving up dishes that food critiques from every big city will try to steal your reservations for. And it's not just this, the city actually welcomes new food. I did a post on my Instagram talking about this new Michelin star chef that's bringing a new restaurant in Hilliard. People went bananas, the support, the love, the energy, that's what I'm talking about. And honestly, this is coming to Columbus every single day, talking about a new franchise opening here, new franchise opening that. We're seeing so many chefs and so many creative outlets in Columbus, honestly, I've never seen anywhere else. And the international food scene here is actually greater than you think it is. The international food scene here is quietly incredible. Hoyo's Kitchen for Somalian cuisine that'll ruin you from anywhere else. We're talking about food trucks that, yeah, have always aligned to them, but always worth it. Aladdin's for Mediterraneans that locals treat like a sacred secret. But here's what gets me excited is the Columbus innovation. We've got chefs here that are doing unique things that we've literally just never seen anywhere before. Hot Chicken Takeover is literally bringing people from other cities just to try it out. Jenny's Ice Cream, yeah, that's ours too. And these aren't accidents either. There's something in the water that just makes the creativity flow. What's interesting about all this too is I have a lot of clients that are reaching out to us from different markets, right? And for most part, we have creative outlets that we want to have. One of my clients reached out from LA a few months ago and he's like, Gagan, listen, I'm a musician by trade. That's how I make my money. What's here to do? And we explored all the options. We even talked about food. We talked about all these things that he had kind of aspirational goals for Columbus. He said, this is the perfect city for all of this. Originally, he's from Cuba and now he's moving here. And it's such a unique combination of all these things that really brings the city to the spotlight. And let's talk about the brewery scene too, because that's what gets me excited. Brewdog USA made this their resting ground. But let me tell it to you like this, that's one voice in a massive chorus. Land Grant, Platform, Seventh Son, Wolf's Ridge, we're talking about breweries that are winning national awards and creating beers that are making craft beer snobs from Portland admit, all right, that's actually pretty good. Something else is our brunch game. Yeah, that's real business. You've got Catalina's with those maple bacon donuts that people plan their weekend around. North Star Cafe, where the avocado toast actually justifies the price tag. And Fox in the Snow, where the pastries look like art, but taste even better. But here's my favorite thing about eating in Columbus, is it's approachable. Again, being from New York, I've been to New York City plentiful times. And I can tell it to you like this, if I'm on a date, if I'm going with my friends, or just enjoying the weekend out by myself, every single restaurant is going to be a minimum of about $75 to $150 if it's multiple people. Columbus, it's affordable, it's approachable, and it's available for everyone. You can hit up a food truck for just $8 and have the best meal of your life, or you can go absolutely bougie, absolutely suited up for $150 and have the missus love you forever. High, low, and everything in between, and all within a 30-minute drive. That's not something that you're gonna get in any other location. But here's the thing about good food, is it tells you a lot about yourself, and honestly, it's a window to your soul. In Columbus, where you want to get dinner pays homage to where you might want to live. Are you catching brunch in Victorian Village with tree-lined streets? Grabbing late-night ramen in the short north? Or picking up barbecue in Hilltop with the secrets that locals always get mad at me for telling? And let's talk about all of those things, because neighborhoods in Columbus have personalities of their own. All right, so let's break down where people are living, what makes these areas different, and why your perfect lifestyle might be in a location you've never actually heard of. The neighborhood options are wild, but let me be upfront about this. Columbus isn't a one-size-fits-all, it's a choose-your-adventure book where the adventure is your life. So let's start with the urban core. Downtown, Short North, Arena District, and Italian Village. If you want walkability, city energy, and you want to be in the middle of everything, this is your zone. Think high-rises with nice views, restaurants you can actually walk to, and that urban lifestyle where we're always 15 minutes away from something interesting happening. You're in the heart of it all. The galleries, the rooftop bars, the coffee destinations that will keep your addiction going. But maybe you want city energy with a little bit more character, right? German Village is where you go for brick streets, historic homes, and that fairy tale vibe that makes every evening walk feel more like a movie set. The Victorian Village gives you those painted lady houses and that front porch conversation with your neighbors who actually know your name. Now, if you want established suburban life, hey, listen, Columbus doesn't disappoint in that aspect either. Dublin is home to many Fortune 500 companies, and on top of that, they have so many events that happen that it makes you feel like you don't need to leave it at all. We're talking about the Irish Festival that happens every single year that competes with places like Ireland, going to Bridge Park with your family and just enjoying the walks there as well. It's really an area that, number one, has a sense of camaraderie that many people are looking for, and number two, has the accessibility to professions and jobs that so many people absolutely need. And combining with this, Worthington has that small town charm with that accessibility to Columbus that you're not gonna get anywhere else. And if we start talking about the schools, we gotta talk about how top tier they are. A lot of clients are reaching out to us. Dublin and Worthington are two of the most recognized names that exist. Hey, we want good schools, we want good accessibility, and also we don't wanna have to be afraid when we're closing our doors at night. Hey, I wanna specify something as well. We are professional real estate agents. That means one thing. I cannot tell you where to live. I cannot say go here because of this, go here because of that. That is considered redlining, and that's just not something that we're willing to do. All of the information that we find is from Claude.ai, Niche.com, Google searches, and other acclaimed sources. These are not just opinions that I'm giving you saying, hey, listen, here's my opinion. That is not the case. And I want to make sure that's very specifically clear because our team is doing hours upon hours of research to find the best information for you. And at the same time, it is not our subjective opinion. It is objective notions that we're using from third-party sources and giving them to you so we can make sure that you make the best decision possible. I want to make sure that you and I and everyone watching has that understood. All right, let's get to it. Both these locations have all three of those things in the bag. For Arlington is where the old Columbus money lives. Tree-lined streets, houses with actual history, and a Whole Foods that makes it feel more like a social club. But here's the secret, it's not as stuffy as people think. It's not as pompous as people think either. You actually have a lot of really cool people that live here. Truth be told, it's just like that older brother that's just amazing at everything. He's also super humble, and it kind of makes you even more annoyed. I'm speaking from personal experience. I'm just kidding. But in all seriousness, Upper Arlington really has all those things, but also that quiet charm where it knows it's luxury and it doesn't need to say anything about it. If you want up-and-coming energy, Franklinton is where it's at. We're talking arts, we're talking grit, we're talking grime, and we're also talking about a location where people know what's up. The warehouse conversations, the art studios, and the restaurants that don't even have signs up, yeah, that's where you want to be. And don't sleep on the outer neighborhoods either. Clintonville up north has that college town vibe, but for grown-ups. Record stores, vintage shops, bars where you actually can have a conversation. And Grandview is compact perfection. Walkable, friendly, it's where young professionals go when they want that suburban life and not that suburban isolation. And listen, I was gonna say that about Grandview a few years ago. It's definitely changed a lot. There used to be lots of jokes about Grandview. It had really nothing going for it, but now we're seeing more and more clients actively look at Grandview and say, this is a place that I wanna live. And then there's those hidden gems, right? The Brewery District, where loft apartments became loft apartments before loft apartments were cool. Old Town East, where Victorian homes meets urban farming, and at the same time, it still works. German Village neighborhoods like Mirion Village, where you actually get the charm and you don't get that tourist crowd. Here's the thing, right? Every neighborhood has its own charm, it has its own rhythm, and your job is to find the one that matches your frequency and your drums. And honestly, that's where having professionals that know every single market, yeah, that's where it comes to play. All right, so I want to know, let us know in the comments below. Are you more of a walkable city energy kind of person or a quiet, tranquil suburban kind of person? Drop it below, and I'm always curious what you guys think. Now, just because Columbus brings urban energy doesn't mean that it's all buildings and parking lots either, right? Columbus actually has a really unique, well, amount of parks and green spaces that most people just never understood. The Scioto Mile downtown is where Columbus essentially just shows off. Miles of walking green path right across the river, fountains that kids actually run through in the summer, and views of the city skyline that make you forget that you're in Ohio. It's where locals bike, walk, take their dog, and take their first date without trying to impress too hard, but at the same time, you know she's impressed. But if you want to feel like you've escaped the city without going too far, you head to the metro parks. High Base, Sharon Woods, Starvey Creeks, those places are massive and gorgeous. We're talking about hiking trails that make you forget that cars exist, lakes for kayakings, and that particular kind of Midwest nature that's peaceful without being boring. The Olentangy Trail runs for miles in the city, connecting so many different neighborhoods and giving you that green corridor that so many people are looking for. You could bike from Worthington to downtown and barely see a car. It's commuting, but it's also the kind of commuting that you actually enjoy doing. Goodell Park right here in Victorian Village is where neighborhood happens. We're talking about farmer market. We're talking about farmer markets, outdoor yogas, and people sitting underneath a tree and reading a book. You don't see that very often anymore. It's Central Park energy, but the size for actual humans. And here's the big thing, right? Columbus actually has lakes that people just don't realize. It's not just fake ones either. We're talking about real ones. We're talking about Alum Creek, Delaware, Buckeye Lake if you want to drive for a bit, boating, fishing, swimming, or just floating around with zero ambition on a Sunday afternoon. The thing about Columbus is that Columbus can make it happen. One of the biggest discrepancies that I see is people that come to Columbus have this formulation in their thought of, hey, this is what Columbus has to be like. And then all of that just gets completely shattered once they make it their home. One of the biggest things that I'm realizing, especially with clients from places like California, Texas, Florida, the ones that actually have a lot of things happening, they think that it's just not going to be in competition with those whatsoever. And to a degree, they're right. You can't compete with all those coastal cities. However, the amount of activities that exist compared to other Midwestern cities, let me put it like this. There's no comparison. There's no comparison whatsoever. I actually have a cousin of mine that absolutely loves biking. All this dude wants every single year for his birthday is a bike, another bike, and another bike. And I told him this, I'm trying to get him a software engineering job here in Columbus, Ohio. The bike infrastructure is one that he's going to adore. If two wheels are your thing, Columbus has a surprising amount of just bike lanes, bike opportunities, and just locations where you can bike from here to there. If that's your thing, we've got that thing covered. Whether you're a trail runner, a hammock reader, or just someone that needs green spaces to think, Columbus has all of those here. And combining with all that, most of those activities, they're free. And that brings us to something that everyone wants to know about. All right, let's talk money. The green paper, the thing that drives the world and circles it around. Here's the thing, on paper, Columbus looks like an absolute steal, especially if you're coming here from those coastal cities. However, there are some numbers that you absolutely have to know, take into account, because these hidden factors will cost you thousands of dollars if you don't pay attention to it. All right, so first let's start with the good news, right? Columbus will actually give you some breathing room. We're talking about lower housing costs, no state income tax on most things, and honestly, pretty low cost of living compared to most cities that doesn't just make you feel like you're living paycheck to paycheck. When it comes to housing, you can still find a really good property at a really good price point, especially compared to those coastal areas. We're talking about maybe living in San Francisco, that's gonna cost you $2,500 for a studio loft, yet you can get a 4-bedroom, pretty nice sized house here for a monthly payment of less than that. We're talking about $200,000 to $400,000 homes here that would cost double or even triple in other cities. All right, and here's the thing, right? You get actual space. We're talking about driveways. We're talking about yards where you can throw the ball with your dog or just hang out with your wife at the end of a day. These are legitimate rooms and they're not just clever storage solutions. But here's the thing that no one tells you about. Property taxes in Columbus, they add up. Now, we're not Texas level, but yeah, it's going to hit you harder than you think. Again, I'm originally from New York, right? When we bought our house in 2017, I believe, in New York, our payments on everything were about $900. Now, in 2025, they're close to about $1,800. Property tax is eating up so much money. Now, again, when we came to Columbus, when we started looking at everything, the amount compared to New York, way less. The amount compared to Texas, way less. But the amount compared to other areas, way more. Now, here's a major component of this is schooling. Areas that have fantastic schools, you're gonna pay a lot more money for. And in response to that money, the cause effect aspect of it, you're gonna get really good infrastructure, you're going to get really good areas, and overall, your students and your kids are going to get aspects of life and training that they wouldn't get in other locations. There's actually some property tax relief that just got passed in a bill which suggests this. And I know the comments are gonna flood about this, but here's what it suggests. If a school or a school district has enough savings, they can actually use that saving part of the property tax relief burden. Now, this is, well, there's two sides of the coin. Number one, oh, they're just gonna hoard the money and they're gonna use that and they're not gonna actually put the money into things that matter. A valid argument. Number two, fantastic. Every single person is going to move to these areas now, driving up home value because they're gonna get property tax relief. Also a fantastic option. All of these things have to be taken into consideration before you make any kind of big migration. Listen, a lot of the clients that are reaching out to us, for the most part, if this sounds like you, let me know. Maybe you're just starting off in a career field, maybe you have a growing family, maybe you're looking to retire, maybe you have family in Columbus. There's going to be different strokes for different folks. What you need is up to you. Let our team help. Again, all of our information is down below. Let's chat, let's schedule a time, let's figure out how we can make this move as easy as humanly possible for you. Combining with this, we also got to talk about utility. All right, here's the big thing about utilities. It's actually manageable for the most part of the year, but there's two major times that you absolutely have to look at the numbers. Number one is July, where it's hot and humid, and number two is January. Both those bills, they might make you winch just a little bit, but for the most part, it's not that bad, especially with newer construction homes where things have been renovated and upgraded. For the most part, again, you're not gonna have to worry about this or that as much as you might think. All right, so here's where Columbus really shines, and that's everyday things. Grocery, gas, eating out. Columbus's just cost of living from that perspective is cheaper than so many areas. You can actually eat well here without planning your meal around your budget. A good dinner for two doesn't require you taking out a loan, and happy hour doesn't mean that you're gonna have to say, what did I just do last night? However, car costs are something to factor in here. For the most part, Columbus is definitely a car city. To get from point A to point B, you are going to need that vehicular transportation. Now, Alcota is definitely trying to make bus transit happen and make it a reality here, but still, we're not there just yet. We definitely don't have the same costs associated with parking, maybe places like New York City, but parking is something that you have to take into account as well. Parking ain't free here, unfortunately. The beautiful thing about Columbus's economics is that it's flexible, right? If you actually spend your money correctly, you can build generational wealth here. If you understand how to save money, you can travel, you can eat out, and you can have leisure that you wouldn't have in other marketplaces. And that's the biggest realization that so many people have. And honestly, that's what really warms my heart altogether. Gagan, we actually are saving more money than we thought. The cost of living, is it cheap? No, but nowhere is it cheap. But Columbus actually gives you that breathing room that you're not going to have in other places, and that's something that really just makes me feel awesome. And with the financial breathing room that actually comes availability and opportunity. Because Columbus isn't just affordable, it's actively growing, hiring, and creating, especially for people that are willing to take the chance. Yeah, it's giving back. Here's the thing about Columbus and work, is you're not too late and you're also not too early to the party either. Here's what I mean. Columbus has steady growth, but at the same time, it's not absolutely crushing competition. The job market is quietly booming too. We're talking about Fortune 500 companies that make this their home, startup ideas that actually come to fruition, and quietly we're growing into a tech scene without the ego of coastal cities. Companies like Nationwide, Cardinal Health, AEP, they're all headquartered here. And it's not just insurance and healthcare either. Tech is honestly just huge in Columbus right now. Everyone from Amazon to Google has major operations here. CoverMyMeds got bought out by McKinsey for billions and stayed in Columbus. Root Insurance stayed here and exploded. The city is becoming a legitimate tech hub, but without the Bay Area cost of living that makes you question your life choices. Here's a big thing that people don't talk about. The logistics industry, they absolutely love Columbus here because we are a day's drive away from 60% of the USA. That means jobs in supply chains, distribution, and transportations, industries that will never, ever go away. You know, I actually had a buddy of mine that just bought a house over in Reynoldsburg, and he drives truck. The one thing that he said to me that always gets to me that I talk about in every single video is this. He said, Gagan, I can always come back home and tuck my daughter in to sleep. That's a powerful statement. And a lot of people that are driving truck, that are doing any kind of just manual labor, you're doing it for your family. Right? And you want to be home to tuck your kids in to sleep. That's why I love Columbus, is because it allows you to do just that. And here's something unique about Columbus, is that it's a test city. Companies come here to try out new concepts, new products, new distribution methods, because Columbus represents America pretty well demographically. This creates jobs in marketing, research, and just innovation that really other cities don't have. One big thing that we're absolutely growing in is the remote work scene. Our cost of living is still cheap in those coastal cities. We still have activities for you to actually enjoy. And if you have to travel from one location to another, then the CMH is actually growing very, very fast. And that allows you to do just that. Whether you're climbing the corporate ladder or just building your own thing, Columbus has room for you. Literally and professionally, the office spaces in Columbus are pretty vacant for the most part, meaning you have affordable rents. The city and the government actually wants to help out innovation compared to other cities, and the talent pool here is bigger than most people think. And if your brain is already spinning with, could I actually make my career happen here in Columbus? Hang tight, because in the later portion of this video, we're going to talk about the actual pros and cons, the hidden things, the tips that no one gives you to make your move to Columbus smoother to Jenny's ice cream. All right, first, let's talk about how you're actually going to get around the city. Transportation is vital here, whether you're commuting, driving, walking in 2025 and 2026, when you're living in Columbus, Ohio, these are things that you absolutely have to factor in. All right, transportation, real talk. Columbus is a car city, but it's a car city that actually makes sense. Here's what I mean. If you're coming from a place where parking is a blood sport and traffic is the Spartan 300, you're going to be pleasantly confused with how affordable and accessible all these things are here in Columbus, Ohio. The highway system is actually pretty logical. 270 is the outer belt that circles everything. Learn from it, love it, live by it. I-70 runs east-west throughout the city, and I-71 goes north and south. Unlike some cities where highways were very clearly designed by some people that just hate humans, Columbus actually makes sense. Rush hour, of course it exists, but it's not the soul-crushing event that so many people have experienced in the past. Okay, we're talking about 20 to 30-minute delays, not those 2-hour wait times that just makes you hate yourself. The worst traffic is, of course, going to be on Friday evenings, when most people are just trying to go home, have a happy hour drink, or just hang out with their friends. At the same time, that's still pretty manageable compared to places like Atlanta or just LA. Parking in downtown Columbus, it's not free, right? But it's also not extorting you the same way that other locations are. Most neighborhoods actually have parking. We're talking about garages, we're talking about street parkings, and it's not going to require you a PhD in urban planning to figure it out. All right, so here's the thing. We actually do have public transportation. Coda buses run all throughout the city, and there's a C-Max rapid transit system that runs north to south. Is it comprehensive enough where you're not going to need a car? Probably not, but it does get the job done eventually, especially when you're figuring out this blueprint and that blueprint. All right, so here is a Columbus-specific tip, though. Winter driving is real, and sometimes it's bad. We get snow, we get ice, and we get those lovely freezing ice situations where everything just kind of turns into a snow ring. If you're coming here from somewhere that just doesn't do winter, invest in good tires and get a all-wheel drive car. Ohio locals, they know how to handle the winter, but transplants sometimes struggle with that. Or if you're just from New York, or New York, as they say in the city, that's gonna get me a lot of hate. But if you're from any of those locations, then you're good. We're not as bad as that. The bike infrastructure is actually getting a lot better as well. Lots of trails, some protected lanes, and a city that genuinely tries to be bike friendly. Plus, here's the big thing. Columbus is relatively flat, right? And for some people, that's a good thing. Some people, it's a bad thing. But if you're on a bike, that's a great thing. You're not going to be going up these hills and down these hills, especially when you just want a cup of joe. Most of these suburban areas are set up in a way that you don't have to drive too far to get basic necessities. Pharmacies, groceries, maybe just a hospital or recreation is all going to be a few minutes drive away. What I want to see more of is a walkability aspect to master plans. I don't know if you guys know this, but I used to model in Florence a few years ago, much before I got a lot chubbier. When I was in Florence, I lost so much weight. And the sense of camaraderie and community that was there was just so much better than anything I've ever seen. And I've oftentimes pontificated why that's the case. Here's the reason why. They have master plan communities that were built in the 1500s where everything is just right there. We're talking pizza shops, we're talking barbers, we're talking bakeries, where you literally live up there and all you gotta do is walk around and you get to meet really cool people. I want to see Columbus make more of those because that is how I think the sense of camaraderie will come back and become even better. You know, but there's one thing that you cannot control no matter how amazing you are, and that is the weather. And Columbus's weather, yeah, it's a little bit of a hoot and a half. Let's talk about that. Columbus's weather is like that friend that keeps you on your toes. Unpredictable, unprecedented, but still a really good person that you don't mind having around. Let's start with something that you probably already know. Winters. Winters here, they are real. Not Buffalo or Rochester level apocalyptic snow, but we're going to get some inches. December through February, you're going to really appreciate the 75-degree warm weather that exists inside of your house. And also it's gonna make you question, why did you ever leave Arizona in the first place? Here's the big thing about Columbus's winter is they're actually manageable. Yeah, you're going to need a real coat and a real boot, but at the same time, it's not like you're going to be trapped inside for 4 months and have nothing to do. The city actually handles the winter pretty manageably. The roads are decently clear for the most part. Life actually goes on, and it's not like everything is just going to end right there. Summer tends to get pretty hot here in those typical Midwestern ways where the air is super thick and your hair does things that you just didn't know that it could. For example, this. July through August can absolutely be brutal, and since today is August 4th, let me tell you, it's a little hotter outside than you thought. But here, that's the main reason that we're sitting inside in our warmed AC office, and swimming pools exist for this particular reason. The real magic of Columbus is the springtime and the fall time. During those times, the temperature here are absolutely amazing. You actually get to go outside, see some vibrant colors that you've never seen before, have some festival and activities to do with your family that you've never experienced, and honestly, it's just absolutely amazing. Mild temperatures, gorgeous weathers, and the kind of temperature that makes you want to stay outside every single moment. Fall especially is my favorite season. Absolutely beautiful outside. Plus, it's my birthday. You get to go out for hikes, you get to go out for a drink, you get to go out and just enjoy the patio, understand that it's pretty outside, but it's also not crazy cold. But here's the big curveball around all of this. Columbus's weather can change like that. You'll leave the house in shorts and come back needing a jacket. Spring especially likes to mess around with you in ways that, well, tends to hurt your feelings a little bit. Snow in April, it's not unheard of, and 75 degrees in February, that's going to happen every here and there. The storms here, they can be impressive, real thunderstorms with lightnings that sound like applauses. Tornado watches, they can actually happen pretty frequently, but people in Ohio, they're pretty chill and they know what to do when this happens. The sirens go off and people check the radar instead of just absolutely panicking. And here's the thing, right? If you have allergies, Columbus can actually make them interesting. All those beautiful trees, they make the city absolutely gorgeous, right? But they also do something else to it. They produce pollen with serious ambition. Spring allergy season is real here. But honestly, the weather season just keeps things interesting here, right? You get all 4 seasons and you're not going to be bored wearing the exact same piece of clothing every single day of the week because you don't know what's coming. And truth be told, a lot of the clients that are reaching out to us, they know this already, right? It's not like, oh, I'm coming to Columbus, what's going on with the weather? You know this for the most part. But at the same time, it's also very interesting to not just know something, but actually experience it. And I think that experience portion, that's something that always makes people smile. You know, one of the biggest things that people have in terms of questions is about one major thing. And no, it's not about the zoo this time. It's actually about schools. A lot of our clients, they have children. You probably have children yourselves, and you're thinking, hey, where can I position my kids to ultimately get the best education possible? And again, we're gonna look at the numbers, we're gonna talk about the data to ultimately figure out where exactly that location is. The Columbus City School, it actually serves the urban core. The key is doing your homework, literally. Look at individual school ratings, visit if possible, and talk to actual parents in the neighborhoods you're considering. But here's where Columbus gets interesting. It's the suburbs. It's the areas where most of our clients are actually moving to. The places that, honestly, have some of the highest ranked schools in the entire nation. We're talking Dublin, Upper Arlington, Worthington, and Bexley. These districts constantly rank as some of the highest in the entire state. The test scores, the graduation rates, the acceptance for college, all of these things speak so much volume about what's happening here. Also, if you're thinking charter or private schools, we've got that here as well. The Columbus Academy, Wellington Schools, St. Charles, options for different educational philosophies and budgets. For higher education, Columbus is stacked. You probably know about the big one as it is, right? OSU. But OSU isn't the only one either. We've also got Capital University, Columbus College of Arts and Design, Franklin University, and so much more. Whether you're a college student or you have kids that are going to be college students, just know one thing. We have a variety of schools, and all those schools are awesome. Whether you have kids that are going to college or just want a city with college energy, Columbus has this in the bag. And listen, I can attest to this, right? I'm in my 20s. I've got friends that are getting PhDs, that are getting masters, that are finishing up college and entering the real world. And one of the biggest things that they tell me all the time is this: I'm so glad that I came to OSU. I'm so glad that I stayed for OSU. I'm so glad that OSU exists because it's awesome. And albeit we do definitely have a college party area scene close enough to OSU, but it's not like you're going to get that in other locations. A lot of people, their kids go to OSU and they're living in Dublin, in Powell, in Worthington, other subsets of the market where they don't necessarily have to worry about that rowdy energy that happens to come every once in a while. As I always say, if you're not getting arrested, did you really have a good time? The Ohio State Connection actually brings something really dynamic here as well. Connection, collaboration, energy, and rooms. The last one is important. Plus, if you want to take classes, do continuing ed, or just audit lectures, OSU makes this possible. You're going to be in rooms with the right people. A lot of my friends, they've actually made lifelong friends with people at OSU. They've met professors they're building businesses with, people that they're doing continuous research on, and scientific discoveries they wouldn't have had made had it not been in the right rooms. Proximity is power, and the proximity of people, especially in college here, like nothing ever. Let me tell you to it like this as well. Our community college and our trade schools are also phenomenal. Columbus State professional training programs, apprenticeships, a lot of paths for people who want practical skills and good paying careers without traditional four-year degrees. In a day where everyone wants to be an entrepreneur or they want to sell this or sell that, we're losing out on plumbers and HVAC. And I believe those people are the ones that are going to be making the most amount of money. Whether you're in HVAC yourself, whether you're in plumbing, whether you're in any kind of trade, if you come to Columbus, Ohio, you are going to make more money than you thought you could. We need more of you guys. We need more of you. And we also need more people that are going into these trades. Columbus also has the education that allows for the facilitation of all of this. Whether it's pre-K, post-grad, Columbus has everything in the bag. Whatever your educational necessities are, all you have to do is match the place with the person and you'll get a perfect combination. All right, speaking about needs and priorities, let's talk about something that's vital: finding your people and finding your tribe. Because moving to Columbus isn't just about jobs or housing, it's about living a life that you can actually be happy with and be surrounded by the people that you actually care about. You know, when I first moved to Columbus, I really didn't know anyone besides my family, right? It was just me, my car, my GPS, and the LA Fitness that I went to every once in a while. And in those LA Fitnesses, I actually made some of the most memorable friendships that I've ever had thus far. Still people that are still my closest friends here. And it's experiences like these that are just not uncommon in Columbus. So many of our clients that are moving here, whether they're moving here with their parents, their wives, their husbands, whomever, I mean, all you know is that group of people. If you don't know anyone else, you have to go out and explore. And Columbus allows this really, really easily. All of my clients tell me one thing: it's really not that difficult to make friendships. Now, sure, albeit you have the OSU passing crowd, right? The people that are here just for college. You also have those people that have known friendships for a really, really long time, and it's hard to get in that inner circle. But outside of those two, if you're just going to a bar, maybe just going to a club, going to Pilates, yoga, anything, and finding common interests with your people, there's a lot of those things here in Columbus. And that's Columbus for you, right? It's big enough where you have everything that you need, and small enough where you can actually build connection. The community here is genuine as well. People want to help newcomers figure things out. Facebook neighborhood groups, next door meetup groups for every hobby imaginable. It's all here and it's active. If you want to play kickball, there's a league for that. If you want to go hike, there's a group for that. If you want to play pickleball, there's a league for that. If you want to play chess, there's a league for that. Whatever activity you want to do, it's here. Professional networking is strong here as well. Tech, healthcare, finances, whatever it may be, there's always going to be a group. Grab a beer, grab a cup of coffee, and expand ideas and expand networks. And something that's unique about Columbus as well is the transplant community here is strong and welcoming. If you go to places like Osceola, maybe just Orlando, Tampa, Florida, California, even Texas, they're gonna tell you one thing: get out, we're full. The transplant community here is actually welcoming and kind. So many people have moved here from somewhere else that there's always going to be a shared understanding of what it's like to start over. People get it and they want to help. Whether you're looking for the best grocery store, looking for the best dentist, or just looking for some shared interest that you have, there's going to be something here in Columbus that you can gravitate towards. But listen, if you're feeling overwhelmed by all of this, you are not alone, and that's where our team comes in. We help people navigate not just the house buying process, but the life building process. Because moving isn't just about buying a house, it's about cultivating a life that you actually want to live. Whether you need help finding a neighborhood, finding a community, or just want someone that knows Columbus to answer your questions, we've got all that covered. And again, all of our contact information is down in the description below, or hit us up on Instagram, the Columbus Report, right here.
Stand at it, do it to me, dance for me, dopamine, all over me, give it to me.
All right, so let's zoom out here for a second and let's be brutally honest. The pros and cons of Columbus, Ohio. What is it like to live here day after day, season after season, winter after winter? Columbus isn't perfect. No big city is, but after helping so many families make that move here and living through all the best and the worst case scenarios, I'm gonna give it to you just like this. Let's start with the wins, right? The cost of living that doesn't make you absolutely hate your life. The ability for you to live well, afford well, go out well, and have fun well. Especially if you're coming here from a more expensive market where your paycheck can only cover rent and sometimes groceries. The job market here is strong and diverse. You're not just locked into one company or one specific model. Tech, healthcare, finances, logistics, education, all of that is covered here in Columbus, Ohio. Listen, whether you're just starting off your career or you've been in the industries for a while, there's opportunities here to collaborate, to grow, or honestly, to just find the right people that work with you. The culture and the food scene punches way above its weight class. You get big city amenities and experience without big city attitudes and prices. The creativity, the innovation, the community, it's all here. And honestly, it works together in ways that will genuinely surprise you. I don't know if you can tell, but can you hear the passion in my voice when it comes to Columbus, Ohio? I don't just talk about it, I actually live it, I breathe it, I understand it, and I love it. But at the same time, Columbus isn't perfect. So I want to be real with you and I want to be genuine with you, because one thing that you have to understand is the weather. The weather requires commitment. You will experience genuine winters where your car will skid a little bit and it will make you pray for the first time in your life. You will experience summer heat that you will understand why air conditioning was invented in the first place. If you're coming here from perpetual sunshine, yeah, it's gonna take some adjustment. The city is growing fast, and for some parts that's a really good thing, but for some other parts that's going to have some growing pain with it. Traffic is getting busier, housing costs are rising, and that one little boutique spot that used to be prevalent is now overtaken by a franchise. It's still very, very manageable, but that sleepy Midwestern city, yeah, it's changing. Sports culture is intense here. Let me tell it to you like this. If you don't like football, or if you're not a fan of Ohio State, it might be a little rough. You'll definitely know when the games are happening because the entire city, it revolves around them. It's fun if you're into it, but if you're not, those Saturdays kind of feel like everyone's moved away, except you. The social scene can also take some navigation. Columbus is definitely friendly, but it's not the friendliest. It's not instantly social like some other cities, and building genuine connections, it requires intentionality and it requires a longer time. But in my opinion, the payoff is worth it. I've built some amazing connections. I built some amazing collaborations. I built some amazing friendships that are going to last a lifetime, all from the city alone. And honestly, literally, all just from pumping iron and lifting weights. And listen, if you're thinking about making that move here, I gotta give you some practical advice. Visit first. Spend a long weekend, drive around different neighborhoods, grab a cup of coffee, or just drink a couple of beers. Get a feel for the rhythm. Columbus, from photos and real life, two very, very separate things. Second is be very clear about your priorities. Commute, school, nightlife, outdoor access. Figure out what matters the most and let that guide you on your neighborhood decision. Don't settle for a place that just checks a few boxes, but it doesn't feel right here. Every move is different. Every family has different needs, and finding someone that you can partner with can save you thousands of dollars and also thousands of headaches. You want to partner with someone that actually understands the city, that specializes in relocation and can ultimately guide you from here to exactly that closing table where you're going to be happiest and have saved money with the perfect neighborhood.
Okay, that was kind of a nice long overview of Columbus. Now we're going to dive deep into specific locations, specific subsets of the market, and specific things that you absolutely need to know. The one thing about this channel that, well, I hope you've understood thus far is we are not basic. We don't just tell you the same things that you already know. It's going to be a little cold here sometimes, right? There's all these billion-dollar companies coming, all of which is true, but we try to actually give you local insights. We're going to talk about neighborhoods next, and then we're going to talk about things that only locals know as well. Let's get to it.
Columbus is one of America's fastest growing cities in 2025. Start off with one of Columbus's most iconic neighborhoods, German Village. The historic district is just located south of downtown Columbus and has gone through a lot of change in the past decade. Now, German Village is known for its brick streets, its brick homes, and a historic charm that you kind of get a European vibe of sorts. The architecture here is absolutely stunning, and some homes even go back all the way to the 1800s when German settlers made this home. You know, our team was walking through the streets of German Village with some clients from California, and there was one consensus amongst all parties. Number one, you get crazy bang for your buck, and number two, it really does have a slower pace of life here compared to most other places here in Columbus. For attraction, you've got Schiller's Park, which is a 23-acre park for you and your family to go and enjoy. They hold Shakespeare in the park during the summer months, and you've also got the book wall, which is, I think, 32 rooms of just books. It's like a labyrinth. You keep going and you just get lost more and more and more. For restaurants, you got Smith's Sausage House. Try saying that 10 times faster, which has been here since 1886, serving authentic German food. They've got these cream puffs, which you'll see on Instagram, but it's literally the size of your head. And Lindy's, which is one of the best patios for summer brunches. Now, German Village attracts all kinds of people, from empty nesters to young professionals to family members that just want a slower and quieter pace of life. The one issue that we hear from everyone, especially about German Village, is parking, and that's kind of a no-brainer when you think about it. Parking in downtown Columbus and in proximity of downtown Columbus is pretty bad. So you're gonna have to take that into account, especially during the weekends when you're having those out and about sessions with your kids. It definitely gets frustrating when you keep driving throughout the lane, see an open spot, and someone takes it before you can get there. From a real estate perspective, the average price of a home in German Village hovers around the $550,000 to $600,000 price range. It can also get up to the multi-million-dollar price ranges for those absolutely massive Georgian-style homes that have a ton of renovation that went into them. The average price in May of 2025 can hover between $650,000 and about $725,000, around 8% higher compared to just last year alone. And as for crime, it's relatively lower here compared to other places, and we actually have a tight-knit community where you kind of know your neighbors as a whole. I think the best way for me to describe German Village is you can leave your door unlocked in the middle of the night and know that no one's going to come and rob you. Moving north, we're heading into the Short North, which is one of Columbus's most hip and trendiest location around. The Short North actually sits in between downtown Columbus and the Ohio State campuses. The neighborhood is known for its boutique shops, its art scenes, and just overall a really good energy, especially when you're walking on High Street. One of the most unique things about the area is it has both a urban and a suburban setting, and also has both history and a modern-esque to it, giving it kind of a unique atmosphere that you're really not going to find in most other places, especially here in Columbus. One of the main events here is the Gallery Hop, which happens once a month where people open up their shops, you got performers, and everyone just comes to be, you explore the art scenes, you see what other people are doing. It's just overall a really good time. And for dining, you got so much option here that's absolutely crazy. But the other thing is this is kind of our hipster child area, meaning that you're going to pay a little bit more, especially for that avocado toast. From Marcella to the Pearl to the North Star Cafe, whether you want Italian food, just a cup of coffee, or you want pizza as a whole, there's always something to enjoy here. And we're seeing a lot of trendier restaurants actually make that move to the Short North. In terms of attraction, it tends to bring a younger, more professional, more hip crowd, people that want to be in the center of the action. It's definitely for the people that enjoy a urban lifestyle and don't mind paying a little premium for it as well. From a real estate perspective, you're mainly looking at condos and apartments here, and the home prices can hover between $425,000 and $475,000. For a one-bedroom rental unit, it's around $1,800 here. Now, luxury buildings like the Castle or the Joseph, you got some homes that are going up to $1 million and even past that number. The crime rate tends to be on the modern side. There's some issues with drugs here, but for the most part, you're gonna get some occasional car break-ins or some rowdiness when it comes to the bar and just overall kids being, well, kids. But if we start going up even more north, you get into Clintonville, where you really do get the vibe of both the urban setting and the proximity to downtown. Clintonville sits just north of the Ohio State University campus, and it's known for its tree-lined streets, its good community, and sense of camaraderie. This is really for that family that, number one, wants more family members, you get what I'm saying? Or you're just looking to start a family as a whole. You're definitely not in the rowdy area as compared to the short north, but you're getting that sense of camaraderie where your neighbors want the exact same thing with you as well. You see, we actually helped a client of ours move here from Chicago, Jen and Adam. And Jen and Adam wanted two specific things. Number one, a place where their kids could grow up in a safe area, and number two, where they wouldn't have to worry about rowdiness from the 11, 12, 8, you get the gist, right? And we looked and looked, especially with our real estate partners, and Clintonville just happened to be the perfect place for them. It was the perfect balance of having a cheaper cost of living, we'll get at that in a second, and overall just a vibe that people really, really want. Clintonville is home to the Whetstone Parks of Roses, where they have over 12,000 roses there, and in June, in the next few months, it's absolutely beautiful. You've also got the Olentangy Trail running through the western edge, perfect for biking or hiking or just enjoying a day with the family walking through those trails. You see, my parents and I just love going on walks here. And for restaurants, you've got Lineage Brewing, you've got North Star Cafe. The Clintonville Farmers Market is absolutely amazing. I love going to Farmers Market. That's my one bread and butter, I'll be honest with you. I was born in Nepal. We were literally just farmers there, and farmers markets are absolutely amazing. It goes from April to November, and it's a fantastic opportunity to maybe just take your friends out there, go with your family, get some shopping done, and actually support local farmers too. With our clients and other people that are moving here, Clintonville tends to attract three different genres of people. Number one are people that work at OSU. Number two are generally people that work in tech. And number three are people that don't want to be in the city, but close enough to the city where you can actually get there. And from a real estate perspective, home prices can hover from $450, $750, and even above, depending on the quality and the size of the house. Places like Walhalla or Midgard are absolutely amazing and areas that a lot of people are desiring to make that move to. The average price of a 3-bedroom home right now hovers around the $500,000 price range, and overall crime in Clintonville is pretty low. The community is also super active and always looking out for each other. If you're thinking about making a move to any of these locations that we're talking about, Clintonville, Short North, German Village, and the other 7 that we're going to talk about too, let us know in the comments below which neighborhood is your absolute favorite. Which one of these have you been looking at the entire time? And is there a neighborhood that you think I'm going to cover, but I might not cover at all? Victorian Village is just west of Short North, and as the name says, it's known for the Victorian-esque homes. It's one of the most beautiful locations in all of Columbus. The centerpiece of Victorian Village is the Goodell Park. It's known as the oldest park in Columbus, and it's known for always hosting the ComFest. It's Columbus's oldest neighborhood. It's known for beautiful parks, amazing ponds, and it also holds the ComFeast, which is one of the largest community events in the entire city every summer. Honestly, Victorian Village reminds me of San Francisco a little bit. Here's what I mean. The homes are painted in a similar mannerism to San Francisco. The vibe is kind of similar to that as well, but also for maybe a quarter of the price. And the kind of people that come here are 3 groups of people. Number 1, young professionals. Number 2, medical staff that work in nearby hospitals. And number 3 are just people that enjoy Victorian-esque homes and want a tranquil neighborhood. In terms of vibrancy and frequency, I'd say it's sophisticated, but also laid back. It's not like in your face sophisticated, but it's also, you gotta know that you're here. From a real estate perspective, you can buy a home from $500,000 to $1 million and more. But here's the catch. The $500,000 homes, or lower end or lower quality, if you want to call it that, they're going to need a lot of work. And as of May of 2025, the average price point here is around $650,000. Crime here is super low, and residents always tell us that they feel super safe here. Listen, if you actually want us to go out and vlog and show these neighborhoods in person, let us know in the comments below. I don't know if you prefer these videos where I'm just talking to you camera to camera, mano y mano, or if you'd actually prefer that we go out, we vlog these areas, and we show you what it's about. Moving to the northwest side of Columbus, we have Upper Arlington, which technically is its own city, but kind of functions as a bougier version of downtown Columbus. It's kind of like the older brother of Columbus, more mature. You have something set in stone and you know what you want. Here is where you're gonna find the American dream. Beautiful homes, amazing schools. In fact, they're ranked number 1 or number 2 in the entire Columbus area. And overall, a neighborhood and an atmosphere that everyone thinks alike. alike. And talking back to the schools, Upper Arlington is always ranked as a top 5 school opportunity for your kids all across Columbus, all the way throughout the past decades. It's known for its community-centric focus with ponds, with community events, and overall just get-togethers that always exist. In fact, I have so many of my own family members that reach out to us all the time and say, hey, listen, is this house available here? Or what do you know about Upper Arlington? Or do you guys have this? Do you guys have that? Why? Because everyone is always looking to make that move to Upper Arlington. Honestly, Dublin, New Albany, Upper Arlington, and Powell are 4 of the most transited to markets that we know about from all the clients that are reaching out to us from YouTube, from Instagram, the whole shebang. If you want to make any of these markets your home, give us a call, shoot us a text. All of our information is in the description below and pinned to the top of the comments. The neighborhood also has its 4th of July party and is home to the Fall Festival, which attracts thousands of people all the time. They're also home to Jones Middle School, which is one of the best middle school programs in the entire state. For us, Upper Arlington is a location where you're finding people that are established in their career fields. Doctors, lawyers, engineers, entrepreneurs. This is a place where the homes are just more substantial, bigger lots, and more space. And again, from a real estate perspective, at the bare minimum, you're looking at around $550,000, with homes going up to the multi-million-dollar price range. You see, the nice thing about Columbus as a whole is this. Our luxury home, if you want to call it luxury, it doesn't go up to the $4, $5, $6, $7, $8 million price ranges as other markets. I've got real estate partners and real estate friends, Oregon, California, even parts of Texas. Those homes are bougie. But let me tell you this, our bougie homes here, looking around $3 million, $4 million. Places like Golden Bear, which is next to the country club, those homes are gonna go lickety split. As of May of 2025, the median home price in Upper Arlington was hovering around the $700,000 price range. The one big thing about Upper Arlington, besides the fact that its price point is a little bit higher of an echelon, is it's always constantly ranked as one of the safest neighborhoods in all of Columbus. In fact, we have so many clients that reach out to us and they love Upper Arlington because it really does feel like the American dream. Now, there's another technical city in Columbus. If you know what it is, put it in the comments below, but it acts as an inner ring suburb. Grandview Heights is another place where you get both urban amenities and suburban charm. It's located just northwest of downtown Columbus and borders the trendy 5th by Northwest area. Grandview Heights is known for one major thing, Grandview Avenue, which is home to shops, dining opportunities, boutique areas, and it's also so conveniently located that it's not too far from your actual house. The Grandview Theater is this independently owned movie theater that shows classic movies and something that a lot of families are going to all the time. I personally haven't actually gone myself, but what I hear from my friends and family is it's great for 3 things. Number 1, going out with your wife, maybe just a spontaneous date. Number 2, going out if you're a young professional on a spontaneous date. Number 3, taking the entire family there so you don't have to watch a movie on Friday night because the wife wants one thing, the kids want the other thing, the husband wants the other thing, the dog wants another thing. Just go to this movie theater, thank me later. You see, we have a ton of clients that reach out to us from all across the country and honestly all across the globe at this position. Chicago has been a major market where we're getting that call all the time. And Grandview Heights actually has that Chicagoan-esque feel to it, where it kind of reminds people of their favorite neighborhoods in Chicago. I don't know. I'm just letting you know. That's what people told me. This attracts young professionals and honestly young families as well that want a urban area, but they don't want the density of downtown Columbus. The Grandview Heights City School District is excellent, and it's perfect for families that don't want to move further away to other suburban markets, but still want really good schools. And from a real estate perspective, you're looking at $400,000 to $900,000. For the $400,000 range, you're getting something that's a little bit on the older side for sure. $900,000, you're getting something definitely a little bit bougier. The active price point as of May 2025 is around $550,000 with active policing from the community and also strong neighborhood investments as a whole. Now let's talk bougie. If you want something absolutely luxurious, here's where you're going to be. New Albany is the place to go if you want luxury, charm, and also you've got some money to spend. Do you know who founded New Albany? Not technically, but this guy named Lex Wexner, the guy that also founded L Brands. Located just northeast of Columbus, it's known for its meticulous detail and overall a historic Georgian charm that you're not going to find anywhere else, and I promise you want that. New Albany is known for its Georgian-style homes, its renowned country club, and honestly, a prestige that you're not going to get in any other suburban areas. The New Albany International Business Park is home to massive companies from Facebook and Intel, and people make money here. Let me put it like that. This hires and has over 9,000 employees, and this is is a massive sector for everyone that's looking for jobs. That's where you go. If you're gonna buy a house in New Albany, which if you are, you gotta give us a call. Listen, you're a professional that's a master of their craft. From physicians to tech bros to just entrepreneurs that are hyper successful. If you want luxury in Columbus, this is where you grow. From a real estate perspective, you can get some homes on the cheaper end, around $650,000, hovering all the way up to multi-million dollars. As of May 2025, the median price point, it says it's around $750,000, but honestly, I'd say it's a little bit more, around the $950,000 range if you want something decent off the bat. You've also got the old areas of New Albany, which has more of those historic homes as well, but there's also a ton of new developments that are actively happening in the New Albany area. But New Albany is also about 20 minutes away from downtown Columbus. It's a little bit of a drive. If you want to stay somewhere a little bit closer to downtown Columbus, and you also want some place that's actively going through a lot of change right now, Italian Village is where you're gonna go. Located just east of the Short North and north of downtown, this has both urban setting and suburban vibes. This has both a historic charm and also modern developments. The area was once primarily industrial, but it's been developed into new homes, new condos, and new apartments. It's honestly a hotspot for breweries and restaurants, and you're seeing a ton of restaurants open up here all the time. Italian Village is definitely on the smaller end, that's for sure. But you have a ton of beautiful green spaces and also the Italian Festival, which happens every October. Honestly, one of the best things about this place is you can be so close to Short North, but not actually live there and have the ruggedness of Short North, if you get my drift. The neighborhood primarily attracts young professionals and people without children that want to be close to the nightlife, the disco of sorts. And honestly, you also live here if you have a downtown employment and you don't want to be too far from the actual city. And honestly, you're going to get the entire shebang here, from old homes to new homes to modern condos, hovering from $375,000 all the way up to $750,000, but the median right now hovering around that $500,000 range. Honestly, crime is a little bit bigger here compared to other places, and use that how you want. Check out places like Neighborhood Scout and crime reports to actually see what's happening in all these places. I will say this, with more and more development actively happening here, I think the crime rate will tend to go a little bit lower. Now, if you want to transit 180 degrees, moving to the northwest side of Columbus, you're going to get Dublin, which honestly is another independent city of sorts, but just functions more of an upscale suburban area for Columbus. And let me tell you, Dublin has earned its worth. It's created this modern amenity with the Bridge Park and also the traditional vibes in these suburban areas as well. It's perfect for families. Dublin is known for hosting the Memorial Tournament, bringing PGA professional golf players here every year. And the Dublin Irish Festival is one of the biggest ones in the entire world, bringing over 100,000 people every single year. From an attraction perspective, it juxtaposes both young professionals, family members that want really good schools, and also empty nesters that want that Bridge Park experience, also are willing to pay a little bit more money for an upscale condo of sorts. And again, from a real estate perspective, you're looking at $500,000 all the way up to $1.5 million and more. The average price as of May 2025 is around the $650,000 price range, and let me tell you, Dublin, Ohio constantly ranks as one of the safest places in the entire country. There's so much really good things to talk about Dublin with, and honestly, Dublin is probably the #1 market that most of the clients that are relocating here from other markets are actively moving to. And our final neighborhood is going to be Old Town East, located again east of downtown Columbus. Listen, this is a place that has history, charm, but also so much revitalization that it's an amazing thing to see. Old Town East features some of the most impressive homes built in Columbus, Ohio, from Victorian, Italianate, and Queen Anne's home built by the elite in the late 19th century and the early 2000s. Many of these homes now are actively being restored. You'll find everything from grand mansions to modern homes, also not too far from each other. The area hosts the Hot Times Festival every September to honor the city's rich cultural diversity. Old Town East has a diverse group of populace, from people that want homes that are similar to the German Village or Italian Village but don't want to fork up that price point, to people that just enjoy history as a whole. This is a place for you. And again, from a real estate perspective, this is probably their cheapest one yet. Homes around the $300,000 range, well, they need a little bit of work, up to the $600,000 and $700,000 range that are already beautiful. And as of May 2025, you're looking around the $400,000 range as a median for it, making it honestly one of the best values for Columbus as a whole with that proximity to downtown Columbus. Crime has been improving but remains moderate, with community efforts to enhance the area as a whole. Honestly, this is such a fun video to make because I love the city of Columbus and everything else in it. If you love Columbus as a whole, if you love any of these places from historic art districts to modern places to luxury to the nth degree, we have that here. And if you want to call Columbus home, or you just love Columbus, or just want to know more about Columbus, all of our team's information is in the description below and pinned to the comments. We'd love the opportunity to chat with you, whether you're moving in 9 days, 90 days, or even 9 years. Is Columbus the perfect city? The short answer is no, right? But it's pretty damn close. And with all the people that are actively looking to make it home, we're seeing more and more reasons as to exactly why people are coming here. So in this one, I'm going to give you my top 30 reasons why we think Columbus might be the perfect city for you. As well, it's very possible. So let's get going.
Anyway, where you carry me go, I go follow. Yeah, you're making me high Colorado, and I don't really mind if I overdose.
You see, we have a lot of people in the Nepali community that live in Columbus, specifically Reynoldsburg. And a lot of them aren't working these 6-figure, 7-figure paying jobs. And the reason I bring up this story is simply due to the fact that they're able to purchase properties. You see, our median cost of a home right now is around $275,000. And compared to most major cities, you're not going to find that anywhere else. One of the most beautiful things is the fact that in Columbus, you're actually able to afford a property and at the same time have great neighborhoods that you're not competing and absolutely fighting for. Now, albeit our competition level, especially for these properties, have gone up in the last few years because of our lower cost of living and with investors coming up. But that's not to say that you're not going to find the perfect property for you. There's actually tons of options that exist to make sure that you can call Columbus home. You see, one of the most beautiful things about Columbus is how diverse the neighborhoods and opportunities are. If you're looking for more of that community vibe, especially for the Nepali community, you're going to look closer to Reynoldsburg and Blacklight. If you want some historic charm and you want some things to do closer to the city, you're going to look at Sherman Village. If you want some opportunities where you get vibrant art and nightlife culture, you're going to look at Short North. Suburbs like Dublin and New Albany have fantastic schools and are a lot of where the tech workers are actively going to. And at the same time, places for walkability like Plaintonville are absolutely favorites. And I'm not saying live here, I'm also not saying live there. And every single one of these locations has their own feedback. If you want that feedback, just go look at my comment sections. I don't really delete most of them. But with that being said, a lot of people obviously are actively looking to make this their home. And the question remains, why? You see, Columbus is expected to grow by around 500,000 people in residency in the next 5 to 10 years. Why are so many people still actively looking to make this their home? And ultimately, why are they choosing these neighborhoods? Well, I think the reason, again, as mentioned before, is the fact that we have such a large, diverse opportunity that exists for every single person. It's not like you're going to have to be fitted in, right? You're going to fit in because the people that live there are like-minded. They know it and they trust the fact that they're looking for the exact same opportunities that you're looking for. I think that's pretty dope. Now, you see, one of the biggest feedbacks I'm giving Ohio as a whole is the fact that we need to retain our tech workers and our tech graduates a lot better. A lot of those kids are actually leaving for better locations and higher paying jobs. But that's not to say that our employment opportunities is at a standstill. Companies like Ohio Health, companies like Nationwide Insurance are actively recruiting and actively getting more and more opportunities for employment. Not only that, in Lincoln County and New Albany with this new semiconductor, there's going to be more than 1,000 added jobs. I know, with the caveat being that they laid off some of their employees earlier throughout the year, but we're still looking at their rejuvenization effort. You see, with the CHIPS Act passage, I believe that we're going to create more opportunities here, and ultimately what that means for you is that you're going to have that employment that you seek. You see, I think 25 is such a unique year. Some of my friends are getting married. Some of my friends have children. It's crazy to me. And some of them are graduating from college. And the fact that they're graduating from college means a really important thing for me, because in my immigration culture, my dad actually never graduated from 8th grade. A lot of my parents and a lot of my parents' friends never went to high school. So having an opportunity for actually graduation is a really important thing for us. The reason I bring that up is because of not just the graduation factor, but where do they graduate from? You see, our schooling is top-notch. From schools like OSU to other programs that are a little less known, like Mount Carmel Nursing, there's always something for everyone. And one of the things that's juxtaposed and really beautiful to see is the opportunity for employment, especially here when it comes to the medical sector as well. You see, when people are graduating from Mount Carmel Nursing, they're then going to get the opportunity to work at Mount Carmel, the hospital. So there's always something for everyone. I think that's what makes things so unique. Now, I'm proud to see my friends graduate from college. I'm glad to see that they're actually getting their degrees. The question then becomes, where are they going to use that degree? And ultimately, how are they going to make sure they can get a sustainable living? Because before the degree happens, you then have to go to high school and middle school. Because areas like the Dublin City School District and the Olentegui local schools are places that are ideal for families, especially when they're thinking about where education happens and how it's being facilitated. You see, when Abel reached out from Washington, he said, listen, I'm actually looking for something in which I can go see contemporary art. Now, with that being said, I'm not really the biggest artsy guy, right? It's just not in my vein. But we looked at some options and he loved the options that exist. And he said, dude, I didn't even realize Columbus had all these art scenes. I didn't either, I'll be honest with you. But with that being said, there's so many artisans area that's absolutely gorgeous. Places like the Wexner Center for the Arts, showcasing contemporary art, and the Columbus Museum of Art, featuring an impressive permanent collection. To events that exist like the Columbus Art Festival, which highlights the city's dedication for these artists, there's definitely something for everyone. Now, I think of art in a very unique setting because we'll actually cover something else that's really important to me, which is entrepreneurship. I believe entrepreneurship is art as well. And I believe the demonstration of art is how exactly you want to demonstrate what activities you're doing. To me, making content and making these videos is art because it's about me sharing a message about something that I love to the world. I think that's how you define what art is. And it's beautiful to see that not only do we have art from a drawing and painting perspective, but we have opportunities for artists all around, whether you're looking to start a business or actually just go for a run. You know, by this time, I think most of you guys know that I'm a foodie. Like yesterday, I had tacos with goat cheese on it and a little bit of cheese pizza does on top of that. I mean, it goes together. Don't judge me. But let me tell you, as a foodie, there's options for everyone. And I think that's what makes it super cool. Places like the North Market, where you'll find local vendors with everything to eat, to Michelin-starred restaurants that are available. And ultimately, those pizza nights that you need when you're out drinking on Saturday and your stomach is filled with alcohol. Don't ask me how I know. There's always something to eat for everyone. And I think from a culinary standpoint, this is really amazing. You see, especially when you're coming here as someone of a different culture, you want to make sure that you have that comfortability factor of it that exists. Now, the demonstration of comfort and demonstration of culture usually happens with clothing and with food. And it's beautiful to see that we have so many ethnic restaurants that are available. You see, especially in Reynoldsburg and Pataskala, what you're going to see is over, I don't know, like 50 Nepali restaurants that exist. Now, if you want me to go, eat, and try some of them, I'm not going to say no. It's on you, of course. But all those restaurants do exist. And if you're just looking for some American food, which I get that, let me tell you, we have some of the best burgers ever. And I think Columbus, I'm going to find this article. Hey, you got to find this article for me. But I think Columbus was actually ranked as the #1 pizza shop in the entire country. I'm not sure, but I believe it was. Just something along the lines of us having the best pizza. Take that, New York. You see, oftentimes one of the feedbacks that Columbus gets is the fact that we don't have that many green spaces or activities to do. One of my favorite pastime activities is just to go outside and go for a walk. I enjoy it very much so. Columbus has over 350 parks, but it's not just that. We have a plethora of outdoor activities that exist. From things like the Scioto Mile, which is a downtown green space with fountain trails and performing art pavilions, to the Franklin Park Conservatory, which offers beautiful botanical gardens and seasonal events like the annual butterfly show. There's always something to do for everyone. And if you're just enjoying or just want to go outside for a walk, we have the parks there. Now, obviously, we don't have a vast array of mountains like the Pacific Northwest. But it's not to say that we don't have things that you can obviously go outside and enjoy doing. You can have a picnic. You can go for a walk. You can also just enjoy some of the parks that exist as well. It's not like we're absolutely abandoned. It's just the fact that we don't have the same things that those places do. You know, I think I've told you guys a story with my dad about when it comes to football and how he loves football and not football. Well, let me tell you, we've got football and football taken care of in Ohio. That was so stupid. You see, when it comes from what we actually enjoy, especially as sports enthusiasts, there's something for everyone. I think that's what makes it so unique. If you're enjoying soccer, then you're going to see FC Cincinnati play. If you enjoy basketball, you obviously got Cleveland. And if you want to see every single one of those things, you've got OSU. You see, what makes us beautiful is the fact that we have such a love for the game and a love for the players as well. meaning that we combine and band together from a brotherhood and sisterhood standpoint and go watch these games and make sure that we're cheering on for the team that exists here. It's great to see that, well, community really get together and ultimately bring together a sense of unity. Sports has a tendency to do that. And if you're into soccer here as well, we've obviously got Columbus Crew. And on top of that, we've got the NHL team, the Blue Jackets here, which is amazing. I think that's what makes it so unique, that we've got obviously the proximity to all those things. You see, I'm super into anime, and in most animes, they use the one specific verbiage, kanja. Now, what kanja means, so I looked it up, is spirit. And let me tell you, our spirit, or our innovative spirit, is like none other. If you watch anime, you're cool, so give us a call. But kanja, or this innovative spirit of Columbus, is like none other. And with programs like Smart Columbus that are transforming the city into a tech hub and attracting startups, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing to see. Now, albeit we're obviously not having the same amount of funding as places like SoCal or even places like San Diego, but it's not to say that we don't have any funding whatsoever. You see, with resources like the Rev 1 Ventures, Columbus is becoming a Midwestern entrepreneurial growth town. I think that's what makes it so amazing to see. Now, if you're not into anime, we'll still help you, and obviously we'll still come at. But if you are, we have a great, great kanja. And I think that's what makes it so awesome. And the facilitation of this and the availability and enthusiasm, both from a local government standpoint and the people's standpoint, to actually develop a good sense of spirit and develop all these things, that's the separating factor from any other major city. You see, my favorite time to go on a date is usually the spring. Why? Because I don't actually have to think too much about it. I know, make fun of me in the comments, it's fine. The reason I bring that up, in the springtime in Columbus, we are a festival galore. You see, from things that exist. And it's not just the springtime as well. From events like ComFest, a free music and art festival, and the Arnold Sports Festival featuring fitness competitors and exhibits, to the Ohio State Fair, one of the largest fairs in the United States that happens in the summer. There's always something to do for everyone. I think that's what makes it so unique. You see, one of the things about our tapestry that's so interesting is it's not just that home that you're purchasing. You're also purchasing the activities that come in the proximity of location. And clearly, that's what people are looking for all over. You see, with so many of our clients coming here with children, one of the first questions that they ask us is, Gagan, is there a zoo? And you probably watched a few of my videos, so you know the Columbus Zoo exists, but we're at the point now where that's the first thing that we address. And listen, how close do you want to live to the zoo? They're usually shocked, but it's like, dude, I understand, we're good. The Columbus Zoo is absolutely amazing. And diving even deeper into this, there's so many family-friendly activities to do. That's absolutely insane, and you'll never be bored. And combining with this, the Coastie Science exhibit exists as well. This obviously offers interactive exhibits which inspires both children and adults alike. And it's a super cool thing to think. Now, with so many families actively living here, it just makes sense that there's activities to do for family-friendly environments. You see, we're about a day's drive away from 60% of the entire country. And the reason that I bring that up is because so many people are living here, their parents are truck drivers, but they're still getting the opportunity to come back home. That's pretty special. And obviously those kids are gonna need things to do, especially during the weekends when there's no school. Yeah, I know, those days are super fun. But with that being said, there's always something to do for both adults and kids alike.
High vibration, vibration. High vibration, vibration. Yeah, you give me vibes, give me life, give me things I like.
You see, for those of you that don't know, Columbus was founded in 1812 and named after Christopher Columbus. It was established as the state's capital due to its proximity to other locations. It grew from a modest settlement into a bustling city fueled by transportation advancements like the Ohio and Erie Canal that arrived, and also the arrival of railroads. And because of its rich history and its modern uniqueness, it's being renowned as one of those cities that everyone is traveling to. So you're seeing that we have such a beautiful, beautiful history here, and that's one of the reasons why people and history buffs alike are actively looking to make it their home. You know, if you're wondering what to get me for Christmas, just get me a Jay-Z album. I love music. It's just, I don't know what to say. I love every kind of music. Right now, I'm super into reggae and Fireboy DML. Fireboy DML, if you're watching this, What's up, man? And the reason that I bring this up is because Columbus's proximity attracts both national and local talent alike, fostering a sense of community for and from music. You see places like Newport Music Hall, oftentimes known as the longest continual running rock club in the United States, is a favorite place for performers. We're seeing a lot of artists come here and obviously play their instruments. You know, oftentimes in our videos, we talked about COTA, or the Central Ohio Transit Authority, and we make it seem as if they don't exist. It's not that they don't exist, it's just the fact that we're growing so fast they can't keep up with it. The public transportation scene 100% is there, it's just not as robust as it could be. And I'm gonna put this as a pro and something that people should look forward to. You see, if you don't have a car, it's gonna be tougher to obviously move around, but at the same time, it's not like it's completely not feasible. Meaning that was a terrible way to structure that sentence. But meaning that there's still opportunities that exist, it's just that we're gonna have fewer opportunities than we probably should have now. You see, one of the ironies that I see, especially when people are moving here, is they think that because we're a Midwestern state, we don't have the 4 seasons. It's not true. We have all 4 seasons, maybe, in smaller duration than compared to the last few years. But we still have all 4 seasons, from fall foliage to the snowy winters to, well, sometimes tornadoes that come. You're still gonna have all those things to enjoy. So when you are thinking about making that move here, it's imperative that you understand all 4 seasons will happen, and it's your job to make sure that you have the accessories for all of them. Now, I'm not saying that we don't enjoy the 4 seasons. We absolutely do, and there's something to do for everyone during all 4 seasons. Make sure you're prepared for it. I'm gonna put this as a pro because I love the fact that we have all 4 seasons. I could never live in some place where there's just 1 season. It's just too boring for me. I don't know. So I love the fact that we get the opportunity to obviously go in the rain in the springtime or enjoy the winters that exist. Now, caveat being that the winters haven't been that bad and we haven't really experienced that much snow. It's not to say that it doesn't exist whatsoever. And families get the opportunity to go skiing, hiking, biking, and doing every other thing as well. So even if you're not a fan of 1 season, just know that you've got those other 3 to take care of you. I've noticed in the past few weeks, we've definitely gotten a lot more conversations about communities, especially from people looking to relocate here. And the reason that I bring up this topic is because, well, the community and the sense of camaraderie here is like none other. You see, from activities that exist, like the Mid-Ohio food collections, which makes it easy for residents to obviously give back, and neighborhood cleanup days and block parties alike, the city fosters a strong sense of belonging and togetherness that really you won't find anywhere else. And I think that's what makes it such a unique area. And it's not just that the city as a whole has all these things, the suburban areas all have their own little games and gimmicks that exist as well. The suburban areas have their own little things that exist as well, from specific things that exist in Dublin and New Albany to places like Reynoldsburg and Franklinton's as well. Each neighborhood has something about it that makes it unique, and ultimately each neighborhood has something about it in which the community gets together and enjoys those activities. You see, in one of the videos that I had posted a little while back, I talked about the malls and how they're kind of dead now. And it got a lot of, well, let's just say comments, right? The reason that I bring this up is because the malls do exist. They're just not as hyper prevalent as they used to be, or as specifically wanted as they used to be. It's not like they don't exist whatsoever. What I'm saying is this: we have diverse shopping options, like the Easton Town Center, which offers upscale shopping experiences, while places like the Polaris Fashion Place offers major retailers. And if you want something local and boutique, then just go over to the Short North Art District. You see, there's something for everyone. I think that's what makes it so special. It's not just the fact that you're going to one mall here, it's the fact that you can see yourself going to all these locations as a whole. You see, as my parents get up there in age, I start having to worry and start thinking about things that, well, most people don't want to worry about, right? Healthcare, for example. Ohio and Columbus as a whole has healthcare in the back, and that's really important to me. You see places like the Ohio State University, Wexner Medical Center, the Nationwide Children's Hospital, and Ohio Health have exceptional care for everyone. A lot of the people that we know that have gone to these services really have never had any complaints and tell us that they're amazing places that they get to just go and know they're well taken care of. You have elderly parents or you have kids. This is going to be a major question. How's the healthcare? Where can I go in terms of a proximity to the best healthcare and the closest doctors and the best hospitals? Well, we're gonna put a map just so we can show you the proximity to these locations so you can kind of see it as we're talking. But for the most part, no matter where you're living in Columbus, one of the pros about it, and like we'll discuss in a second, is its proximity to things, right? So you know that wherever you go, health and safety are taken into account. You know, the first time that I went to Hawkins Hill, I was enamored. It was beautiful. There was waterfalls, caves, and just a beautiful, beautiful array of just things to do. And our proximity to nature as a whole is something that I think is deeply underrated. Now, albeit we obviously don't have the greatest catalysts that exist. But at the same time, it's not like nature doesn't exist at all. From places like Hawkins Hill to other massive, massive areas that exist in proximity, we always have something to do, and I think that's what makes it fun. Lake Erie is only about 2.5 hours, 3 hours away from Columbus. And at the same time, from a 45 minutes to an hour proximity, there's definitely things to do and activities that exist. So if you enjoy nature and you enjoy going outside, just know that you'll still be taken care of. Oftentimes when you hear Franklinton's, you kind of have this preconceived notion about it already. Well, let me tell you, it's very up and coming when it comes to the culinary scene. And it's not just Franklinton's. Columbus as a whole is growing in richness when it comes to our culinary expeditions and ventures. There's always something to eat. And at the same time, ghost kitchens are popping up left and right. Neighborhoods such as Italian Village and Franklinton's are becoming culinary hotspots for locals and visitors alike. You're probably like, Gagan, what is a ghost kitchen? Well, essentially it's something where you can just do takeout and you're never actually sitting inside. It's like you don't see the chef ever. Pretty cool concept when you think about it. But all these are popping up and all these different restaurants are existing as well. And I think that's what makes it so freaking amazing. You know, I brought up the Four Seasons, but when I tell you that we have year-round expeditions, I'm not joking. Things like Red, White, and Boom, which is the Midwestern's largest Independence Day fireworks display, and the Festival Latino, a vibrant celebration of Hispanic culture, to tens of other festivals that exist in Reynoldsburg for the Nepali culture. There's always something to do for everyone. And I think that, again, has to be taken into account when you think about all the seasons that exist. You know, one of the things that we're noticing left and right is the fact that our economy is definitely stronger than ever. And I think the reason for this is a diversification aspect of it that exists. Diversification, especially when it comes from an economic standpoint, is super important. Think about it. If only one industry had massive, massive hold, it wouldn't be good. Because imagine that industry goes awry or something happens to it, then you're screwed. We have manufacturing, agriculture, and infrastructure that exists. We're growing in tech, and it's an amazing thing to see because healthcare also exists. There's always something to do for everyone, and no matter what industry you're a part of, just know that you're taken care of. And if you're looking for a job change or some opportunity where you're like, you know what, I want to go do something else, that exists as well. So just know you don't have to be boggled down by one specific industry. In fact, we have a buddy of ours that used to be in the tech industry. He quit his job to do real estate full time. Now he's working with us as one of our agent partners. And it's an amazing thing to see because he's actually making more money now than he did previously. And if you want us to obviously connect you with him so you have a good idea of what specific industries exist, all of our information is linked down below. Give us a call, shoot us a text. We'd love the opportunity to collaborate with you, whether you're moving here now, 90 days, or even 90 years. You see, Michaela called us a few months back, right? And she's like, I'm debating between Cincinnati and Columbus. I told her, why debate? It's only like a 2-hour drive. And she's like, no way. I'm like, yeah. So when you're thinking about making that move, wherever it may be in all of Ohio, just know from a proximity standpoint, everything is about 2 hours away. And even places like Pittsburgh and Indianapolis aren't too far either. We're just about, give or take, a 5-hour, 6-hour drive away from Buffalo. And if you're trying to go, obviously, to New York City, that's going to be about a 10-hour drive. Harrisburg and Philadelphia are about 4 hours each as well. So from a proximity standpoint, you're not too far from any of these locations. And I think that's what makes it amazing. I talked about this beforehand, right? One of the big things about Ohio as a whole is the fact that we are a day's drive away from 60% of the entire country. That's pretty dope when you think about it, especially with truck drivers and people obviously traversing for work. You obviously have the availability to come back home and tuck your kids in to pet. And I think that's really, really special. And again, I want to come back to this idea of kanja or innovation specifically relating to urban planning. You see, our urban planning is like none other, and we're definitely building more and more things and infrastructure that exists here. from specific things like the Kyoto Greenway and Smart Columbus, which are actively being built, to also bike initiative programs here as well. There's a ton of things to do, and I think one of the biggest caveats of this is the growth factor alongside it. When I say growth, I mean the fact that more and more people are coming here, and as such, more and more things have to be developed, and as such, more things being developed means a better economy. It's a cyclical thing when you think about it, but it's really cool to see that we have all these initiative programs that are happening. Now, when they're going to come to fruition, and if they're going to come to fruition, obviously it's a different conversation altogether, but ultimately it's still showing me one specific thing, that we're definitely on the right track. Now, if my mom is watching this, I don't drink. And if you're not my mom, I do drink. But seriously, I don't drink that much. But a lot of my friends do. They go out and enjoy the evening. So a lot of my friends just graduated from college, so it makes sense. But let me tell you, our wine and craft brewery scene, it's actually fantastic and something that really isn't in much other location. From specific things, for mead, like the Brother Drake's Meadery, to Seventh Sun Brewing Co. for craft brewers enthusiasts, there's something to drink for everyone as well. I know we talked about the food programs. We gotta have something to obviously go down the hatch with that, right? Let me tell you, our craft brewery scenes is amazing. And this is gonna correlate with the next topic as well, which is our entrepreneurial opportunities and entrepreneurial spirit. Now, I'm obviously an entrepreneur, right? I hunt to eat what I have to kill. I think that's the saying, I'm not sure. But as an entrepreneur who works purely off of commission, I need to find other entrepreneurs that are like-minded to myself so I can obviously bounce ideas off of them, and ultimately we can both hold each other for accountability. That's a really important thing, and that's why programs in specific companies like Rebel Ventures and Columbus Idea Foundry has so many incubations for small business ideas that it's a beautiful, beautiful thing to see. Now, it's kind of nerve-wracking to be an entrepreneur, I'm not gonna lie with you, especially when you don't know when your next meal is gonna happen or where the next paycheck is coming from. It's beautiful to see the systemic approach when it comes to actually building these things and ultimately making it so that entrepreneurs have the chance to win in collaboration and together. You know, we talked about the zoo, we talked about the schooling. The third biggest thing that our clients ask us about is safety. It's just how it goes. And if you look at my comment sections, you're gonna see a lot of people have a lot of different opinions when it comes to safety and when it comes to specific locations. Some people say don't go there. Some people say absolutely go there. What I am gonna tell you is from an objective standpoint with neighborhood data and from niche.com, there's a few specific locations that we're seeing, especially being rejuvenized for safety. Now, obviously you've got the safe picks like New Albany and Upper Arlington. Those places are also gonna have a higher price tag that comes with it. It's just how it operates. We're also seeing more and more places, especially like Franklinton's, to being developed with more and more housing options that exist there. Now, relatively speaking, the Short North Art District has some safety factors, but at the same time, we're definitely seeing a higher crime rate there as well, and a lot more car break-ins. Pro tip, if you want to park there, you're gonna have to wait like an hour and a half. So take all those things into consideration. But the reason that I bring this up as a pro, and the reason I bring this up in this video, is because safety is imperative, but it's not to say that our safety is lacking. I do think that we want to make sure we want to make Columbus as safe as possible, and that's definitely being regurgitated and actively worked on. Now, specific areas and specific suburbs all the way down south, places like Brexley or even places even more down southwest, southeast, like Pataskala and Blacklick, they're very safe neighborhoods. So take all that into consideration when you're deciding on where specifically you want to live. How safe do you need it to be? And how ultimately do you want to feel in that location as well? You know, I've never understood people that haven't liked libraries. There's literally hundreds of books that you're getting for free in which people are transcribing the energy that they have into written word. That's pretty dope, and that's why I love anime books. But I also love reading as a whole. And if you enjoy reading or you enjoy just going out with your children, maybe on a Saturday to pick up a book, the Columbus Library is absolutely fantastic. The Columbus Metropolitan Library, or the CML, is just a place to check out books. It's an award-winning library system known for its innovative design and community engagement. With 23 branches, the CML offers everything from free tech classes to career workshops and a downtown main branch for its agricultural marvel. You see, the summer reading program attracts thousands of participants and fosters a sense of community that you really don't get anywhere else. It's really cool to consider the fact that not only are you going to be here and actually have, reading materials, you're also going to have someone else to be there for you as well. I think what we want more than anything else is that sense of community and camaraderie, and challenges like this that foster that, they're super amazing to see. Now, combining with this, we take health very seriously, right? We're actively looking to make Columbus more and more accessible and walkable. And I definitely try to go to the gym every here and there, get a little bit more jacked. But in all seriousness, one of the most important things that exist is the fact that we're creating these programs in which we can help people get the health factor into account. You see, when I first started working out, I didn't know anything, and I probably wouldn't still be working out now if the people that were at the gym didn't take care of me and weren't willing to help out. And I've never met someone that was unwilling to help out. Maybe it's something simple like, hey, can you spot me here? Or, hey, do you want to work out together? Any of those things, if you are looking to obviously be more and more healthy, Columbus is the perfect city for you. You see, it's not just the fact that we have the weight rooms that exist. There's so much walking opportunities and hiking and biking and trailing that you're always going to have something to do, especially when it comes from the health factor. So just know, if you are a health nut or you are someone that wants to get more and more actively healthy, Columbus is the perfect city for you. I know, I need to get a little bit bigger. Don't judge me. And last but not least, the last thing that I want to talk about is our high quality of life, right? It's not just the fact that you're getting housing opportunities, safety, activities to do, schooling, and everything else. It's the fact that all of these things are combined in one specific location. And I think that's something that you don't get anywhere else. And that's why I love making these videos, because, well, I'm so proud and I get to talk about the accolades that exist in this wonderful city. You see, most people don't get these things anywhere they live. And if you want to, you're gonna have to pay a very, very premium price point. We have the luxury of that not being the case here. And I think it's super unique and something that's ubiquitous to just Columbus as a whole. Today, I'm exposing the 13 things that no one tells you about living in Columbus until it's too late. And this isn't just the same basic rundown, run-of-the-mill video where everyone just regurgitates the exact same thing over and over and over. Here's what you want to know. What are some challenges that residents are facing every single day that people don't realize? What are some up-and-coming neighborhoods that are secretly kind of outpricing you as a whole? And what secret advantages do locals exploit that transplants miss for years? Let's dive into the truth that no one is talking about. Columbus has a serious hidden flooding problem that most people simply ignore. Nearly 60% of Columbus homes are at risk for basement flooding. The city sits on aging, draining clay soil and has staging stormwater infrastructure. Flash flooding can occur in neighborhoods that people didn't even realize. The hidden truth is Olentangy and the Saito River aren't the only areas with concern. Even homes on slight incline miles from water miles experience basement floodings during heavy rain. The pro tip is always get a sump pump with a backup battery, especially if you're buying in Columbus. And before buying any homes, check all the corners in the basement for any kind of water damage or any leakage. And ask neighbors directly about flooding histories. Most people here will tell you the truth. School district boundaries are creating a housing crisis that is completely invisible to outsiders. And this is an unfortunate reality, but post-pandemic education gaps have gotten wider in specific locations. Homes in Grandview Heights, Upper Arlington, and Dublin are selling 25% above market value because they've got really fantastic schools. Even just good school districts are getting 20 to 30 offers within a 24 to 48 hour window, and private school waitlists are from 2 to 3 years. And the secret to this is there are a lot of really good schools in the Columbus City School District that people just simply hide and cover from. And the home prices, especially in these neighborhoods, are half the price of those expensive suburban areas. Now, I'm not saying live here, I'm not saying live there, but if education is an important thing, then you gotta make sure you have all these facilities taken into account. Some streets are split between districts, and this knowledge alone can save you from $30,000 to $40,000. Columbus's water also has serious issues that no one talks about. Columbus's water regularly tests positive for PFAS, otherwise known as the forever chemical. When you're coming to live in a location, it's imperative that you obviously have the quality of water and whatever you're drinking. It's 70% of your body. You want to make sure you have these factors taken into account. People will downplay these issues, but that's why in most people's homes, you're going to see some kind of water filtration device because, well, we want to make sure the water we're drinking is safe and good. One of the things that we tell everyone that's relocating here from a different market is budget between $1,500 to $2,000 to install a water filtration system in the entire house. At minimum, get your water independently tested before drinking it, and places like German Village and Clintonville have the most problematic issues out of every location. Now, one of the things that I'm telling you scary and annoying, of course, but if you're still here, then you're thinking about making Columbus home, and you want to make sure that you understand all the issues that people simply cower from. That's not us. If you're thinking about making Columbus a home, even after talking about the water problems, we'd love to help you. Whether you're moving here in 9 days, 90 days, or even a year from now, we'd love the opportunity just to collaborate. Check out our Facebook group and check out our Instagram as well. But hey, this is home for us, and we'd love to make this home for you.
Take me in the night or lose me before.
Columbus residents pay both city income tax and school district income tax as well. Property tax reassessments are happening at an unprecedented rate, going from 30 to 40% just overnight. RETA tax collection agencies are pursuing even the smallest penalties, and special tax districts in new developments are adding thousands to your costs. Listen, if you're thinking about moving to Columbus, Ohio, or living in Columbus, Ohio, taxation is going to be one of the biggest conundrums that you have, and I understand this. Taxes as a whole, they suck. And let me tell you, a lot of people, when they are moving to Columbus, especially with property taxes, they don't understand just how much it really truly is. In our market here, it's expensive, especially if you're looking to buy a new build property. You got to understand, you're going to go from pre-construction tax to a post-construction tax, and that number is going to blow your mind. Listen, if you're like most transplants, I'm sure you've considered the housing tax and the income tax as well, but there's a lot of other small subsidiaries that you absolutely have to understand, especially if you're looking to make this place your home. And listen, if all of this mumbo jumbo is just making you hungry, I get it, but here's the thing. Columbus has a restaurant scene that's kind of dying in specific places. 60% of new restaurants fail within 9 months, which is above the national average. Social media hype creates 3 to 4 hour wait lists in brand new locations, which, trust me, I understand, and it sucks. And the other thing is, legitimately good restaurants are kind of hidden away in strip malls, and they don't really have the best outside decor. Here's the things that only locals know that I'm going to tell you. The most authentic international food is oftentimes found in the Northern Arc. From Dublin through Morse Road to Reynoldsburg, not in those trendy downtown spots charging 3 times the price. My pro tip is follow Cbus Underground. This anonymous page is run by food workers, and they'll give you the honest, unfiltered truth. You know, when we moved to Columbus, I was lucky because so much of my family lives here, and because I have so many friends from Nepal, from Rochester, and everywhere else. But a lot of the people that are actively looking to make Columbus home, they're not as lucky. One of the things that our real estate team does is we connect you with other people that we think you might get along with. We have parties, we have quarterly events to make sure that we can interact with newcomers, and everyone that's a resident can actually feel like a resident and have a sense of camaraderie. But the other thing, especially when you're not working with our real estate team, is you're going to tend to feel really alone. One of the things that I'm reading, especially in subreddit groups and from just people as a whole, is it's really difficult to make friends in Columbus. Yeah, we should get together. That's never ever happening. And one of the reasons that we have get-togethers so often is because people feel isolated and alone. And that feeling absolutely sucks, and we want to make sure that people simply don't feel that way whatsoever. So listen, if you are thinking about making a move to Columbus, whether you choose to use our real estate team or not, I want to make sure that you have some kind of social group and some kind of social lever. I will put our Facebook group in the description below, where we host events where we talk about all the things that are happening in Columbus, so that way you'll know exactly what's going on and how to connect with other people. One of the ways that I make sure I don't feel so isolated is I have different hobbies. I love working out, I love going to the gym, I also love playing basketball, pickleball, and everything else. I'm really lucky because I'm a Nepali person, and there's so many Nepali events that happen in Columbus that I've got friends from all across the country to either drive or fly here so they can enjoy those Nepali events that happen as well. Even as we're shooting this video, literally today, there's a massive Nepali event that's actually happening here in Columbus. So hey, if you're thinking about making it home, let us know and join that Facebook group. Things that locals know that you don't. Topic number 7 is there's so many neighborhoods that are shifting so rapidly that conventional wisdom behind it simply needs to go out the door. Here's what I mean. So many of these neighborhoods are being gentrified, and so many people are actively coming to these areas that, for all we know, some topics that you're going to read about from 2022 and 2023, it's not going to apply in 2025 and 2026. So let's be honest, Franklinton, despite the up-and-coming hype that it's had, it's still dealing with its crime. South of Main is quietly becoming the new art district without those expensive price points that we see in Dublin. Driving Park has early stages of gentrification, which both is going to create jobs and also displacements. And Linden has had multiple thousands of millions of dollars invested within it to make it safer. But at the same time, locals will tell you this, there's still some things that you absolutely have to worry about. My pro tip is use the Franklin County's Auditor's Crime Mapping tool before you make a big decision, so you can see which areas has the most crime and what areas are actually safer than you think. Some bad areas are actually really good, and some good areas are actually really bad. Listen, this other thing that I'm going to tell you is absolutely crazy, and wait till you hear about topic number 9, 10, and 11, because there are things that most people didn't even realize, and things that I didn't even realize until I came here. Pollen is bad, and our seasonal pollen allergies is some of the worst in the entire country. Now listen, I was on a date a few months ago, probably about a year now at this point, and now we were talking and
she was sneezing like crazy. And I was actually a little bit worried because I was like, yo, what's going on here? She said, listen, it's just seasonal allergies, but I've never seen someone sneeze that much in my life. I didn't realize how bad we actually got it. For the people that it's going to affect, it's going to affect them harsher than you think. You see, the harsh reality is Columbus constantly ranks as a top 10 city for the worst allergies in the nation. Climate change has extended allergy season from 4 months all the way up to 7 months. And 40% of the residents that have allergies actually develop it latently, meaning they feel it after 3 to 4 years of living here. And the problem then becomes most people that are moving here, they think that allergy season is just a bad cold or sinus, giving it improper medication and just making it worse and worse. Start taking 24-hour non-drowsy antihistamines before symptoms start, before February, and continue through November. One of the things that works really well for my mom and also my friend is local honey, surprisingly, but that works. And also nasal sprays as well. Listen, how many people are gonna sit here on their camera and tell you that they're gonna have allergies? How many people are telling you to take antihistamines? Probably none. I'm guessing the videos that you've seen on YouTube talking about moving to Columbus, you haven't heard this topic yet. And if that's the case, let me know in the comments below saying, hey, I haven't heard this topic yet. So I know, number one, you're at this point in the video, and number two, that we're making the right content. Columbus has a shockingly fragile power infrastructure that locals just tend to work around. Here's the truth. Average Columbus residents experience over 12 power outages a year. Certain neighborhoods, Clintonville, North Linden, and Brexley, have so much more power outages than other areas. And summer brownouts are becoming the norm, especially with the heat waves. Here's my honest opinion on it. The AEP, Ohio's infrastructure, simply has not met the demand of the people. Here's what I mean. We have grown so fast. And if you're thinking about living here, imagine how many other people are thinking the exact same thing. From Intel to Google to all these other massive companies that are actively building. And in just the last 2 weeks alone, we've had another $5 billion investment in Central Ohio. Think about that. So many more jobs means so many more people, meaning we're gonna have to use more electricity as a whole. That's something that the energy infrastructure simply has not kept up with, and a problem that we absolutely are dealing with right now. One of the biggest reasons that we understand this is we actually had a client of ours move here from Texas, and what they told us was simply this: I want gas-powered appliances. And it absolutely makes sense when you start thinking about it. At the very least, make sure that you have a backup generator in the house and backup batteries as well. The northeast quadrant of the city is the most reliable out of all these locations. The power outages are absolutely things that you gotta know. As many of you know, my parents are a little bit older, and one of the big things that I think about, especially with them, is healthcare and safety. Now, my mom had some health issues that she's dealing with, and she's still dealing with it right now in New York. And we're talking about this a lot because one of the big things for us, especially as we started migrating to Columbus, is number one, we have our family here that we can be close to, but number two, how good is the healthcare? How accessible is the healthcare? And although Columbus has world-renowned healthcare facilities, the accessibility to that isn't the best. The statistics talk about it too. Primary care patients have to wait an average of 67 days if you're new to the area. Specialists are oftentimes booked out for 4 to 5 months. And albeit OSU and Nationwide Children's Hospital have really good specialist care, for the general care aspect of it, it's kind of all right. The problem is insurance networks are unusually restrictive here. Ohio Health and OSU rarely accept cross-pollination and rarely accept each other's health insurance plans. So my pro tip is this, and this is the same thing that I tell all of our clients. Make sure that your employer has healthcare attached to your job. If possible, establish primary care immediately upon arrival. And even if you're healthy, it does not matter, because some way, somehow, you are going to be sick. Listen, there's a quote saying you may have 100 problems until you're sick, then you only have one problem. You know what I absolutely hate about Columbus is the fact that people think our traffic is disgustingly bad. Now, am I saying that it's not bad? No, I would be an idiot and people would roast me in the comments. But it's not as bad compared to LA or New York. I actually did a post about this on my Instagram. I'm gonna have it like right here so you can see the post. But here's the thing. Columbus residents have created their own unique way of driving that doesn't make sense to anyone else until you live here. Here's what I mean. As gratefully as I can put it, our drivers suck hard. Local norms mean stopping at green lights and red lights not existing after 10 p.m. The Columbus red is a standard practice, which means you're turning left at the red light.
right. Merging without signaling is the expectation, and I-270, especially during rush hour, is the worst thing in the world, and you can have a variance of 30 miles from the guy that's driving you to the person that's driving behind you. And then they're gonna start chasing you and start honking their horn at you. Columbus has a much higher accident rate here compared to its other comparable areas, and this is reflected on the $500 to $800 premium that comes with car insurance. Listen, I don't care if you're living in Dublin, in New Albany, in Powell, or Reynoldsburg. If you don't have a dash cam on your camera, it is your fault. Absolutely make sure you get that installed, especially when you're coming here. And you know what's even worse is when you're coming home and you have road rage the entire time, then you see a piece of mail and it says this is your property reassessment value. And the only thing that number does is piss you off. You see, Franklin County's reassessment process is an absolute nightmare, and it's causing and wreaking havoc for families alike. Property reassessments can increase 30 to 50% in just one cycle. Appeal processes heavily favor the counties with only a 15% success rate, and so many long-term residents are forced to sell because of the tax situations. The issue with this is you're probably looking at a home online, on Zillow, on Realtor.com, on Redfin, somewhere. The reassessment property value, it's simply not there. The only number that you're going to see is either the property value associated with the list price or the number that they're paying last year alone. But let's say you bid $40,000 to $50,000 above for that new house, that new number and that new percentage is going to be that much higher because of that sold amount price. And this is absolutely prevalent everywhere that we go. So before you buy, check for when the next reassessment is due, and oftentimes see what the appraiser is saying about the area. Listen, so many of our clients are purchasing new build homes, whether that be in Jerome Village, in Dublin, in New Albany, Pickerton, Canal, Winchester, everywhere that we're seeing. And one of the big things that we absolutely talk about is post-build tax assessment, or what the house's actual value is going to be after it's completed in building. And listen, whoever that you choose to use for your real estate transaction and purchase, make sure that they understand the tax assessment value, especially after the secondary purchase, is going to be a lot higher. You know, we've been talking so negative about Columbus. One of the big things that I want to talk about is our art scenes are so vibrant and beautiful, but a lot of times they go under the radar. There's also underground art markets where the actual arts costs up to a third less than, the norm. There's also private cocktail societies, which if you're on the bougie aspect of things, then it's there for you. They're hidden, but if you look hard enough, you will find it. Listen, Columbus is great if you do your homework, if you understand which areas are there for you. And listen, if you're making that 6 to 7 figure salary and you have a job opportunity, we'd love the opportunity to help you. That's exactly what we do with all of our clients. But if you're coming to Columbus just willy-nilly without kind of expectations or ideas, you're definitely going to fall into the trap that so many other residents fall into when they're working with other people. If you are coming to Columbus, Ohio for a job, to retire, or to be with family, then this video is for you. I want to make sure that you understand every single thing that's happening with our beautiful city. And whether you're buying in New Albany, in Dublin, in Powell, wherever, we'd love the opportunity to be your real estate professionals of choice. Our team sells all across the area, and we'd love to guide you throughout this journey. So you're thinking about living in Columbus. Well, before you pack your bags, there are some unexpected costs that no one is talking about. Columbus has a reputation as an affordable Midwestern city. But now residents are facing some unexpected expenses that didn't show up in the cost of living calculator. So let's dive into the 6 unexpected costs of living in Columbus. And you're your favorite realtor's a favorite realtor. And when you're researching Columbus online, you're going to read headlines of cheaper costs of living, affordable housing costs, and opportunities to actually make your money stretch. And yes, some of those things are genuinely true. Our costs of properties are much lower than coastal cities. Eating out can be reasonably priced, and everyday goods are typically below the national average. But here's what these guides won't tell you. Number 1 is how recent developments in Columbus is actually making cost of living here so much higher, especially with all the buildings and these massive billion-dollar entities. Which areas have become surprisingly expensive to live in, and 6 massive things that you absolutely need to know before you make that move here. Number 1 has to be property taxes. You see, when a lot of our clients are actively looking to make this move here, one of the things that they're not factoring in is post-construction property taxes, especially on the new build properties that exist. A lot of our clients are actively looking at new build homes to make it, home. But at the same time, the cost of land acquisition versus having a legitimate building on that land, those are two big different things, and you want to simply make sure that you have the taxation standpoint absolutely understood. You see, property taxes here in Columbus are much higher than most people expect. You see, the three biggest counties here, Franklin, Delaware, and Pickaway, have very, very different property taxes and property tax assessments. In Franklin, it's 1.67% of the assessed value. In Delaware, it's 1.48%, and in Pickaway, it's 1.19%. Now, those are obviously just averages, but take that into account, especially when you're buying a new construction property. And when you're looking at things, maybe from a development standpoint, or maybe just from an investment standpoint as well, all of this is definitely going to play a part. I encourage all of my clients, when they can afford multifamilies, to just buy multifamilies over single family properties for two major reasons. Number one, all the taxes, all the principals, all the interest, everything is just jumbled into one bill, and it makes it much easier to digest. And number two, multifamily properties actually get treated like businesses instead of single families, which you can then take into LLCs and S corps and the whole shebang. A $300,000 home can mean over $6,300 in just property taxes alone. That's a lot. When you start just simply doing the math, these numbers tend to add up $500, $600, even $1,000 a month in just property taxes alone. And suburban school districts are actually pushing for higher taxations so the schools can get even more funding. And recent levies have actually increased the rates in a bunch of different neighborhoods. Honestly, what's kind of crazy to me is how different neighborhoods can vary in property taxes amount up to 30 or even 40%. Make sure that you're working with a local agent that understands the market, that knows what's going on here, and can ultimately help you find the perfect property in whatever neighborhood you want to live in. That's us. The second thing is transportation costs. Our car dependency here is much more rigorous and bigger than you actually think. You see, there's definitely some options that are coming to downtown Columbus with those little scooter things that are coming about. But for the most part, especially if you're living in a suburban area, which a lot of our clients are, you're definitely going to need a car. And Ohio's auto insurance rate's actually kind of above average compared to the national average. It can hover anywhere from $1,900 up to $2,100 or even $2,200 a year. And let me tell you, our winter conditions can absolutely cause damage to the car, making it so that, well, you're going to have other hidden expenses that you just didn't think you would have. You see, Sierra actually moved here from Kansas City for a job a few months ago, and she was super excited and she loved everything, and it was awesome to obviously find her a property with our team. Here's the thing. It was snowing super bad. And unfortunately, her car kind of slipped, and one thing leads to another. It's how it goes. She had a bill that racked over $3,000 for a 2019 Subaru. But that's kind of what's happening here. And I'm not saying that's going to happen to your car. Of course not. God forbid. What I am saying is you want to make sure you're careful when you're driving, number one. And number two, you want to make sure that you have that added expense to your back end. So if anything were to happen, you can be safe. Now, I'm from New York. Trust me. We got the all-wheel drives. We're chilling. We know how to drive. The surprising truth is a two-car household can spend up to $14,000 with repairs, any fixings, or just public transportation in need compared to most other major metros. Here's the thing about Columbus is we don't have that rail system that all these other metros have, and it's something that people are desperately asking for. And hey, I know why you're here. There's another question that you're asking. Hey, which of these things can I actually afford? And stick around, because 4, 5, and 6 are some things that most people don't talk about, but absolutely need to be mentioned when you're thinking about moving to Columbus.
I sat down, crust, turning my neck, shut him up. I sat down, crust, turning my neck, shut him up.
You see a lot of the clients that are reaching out to us are living in the coastal areas, and they want somewhere where they can retire. They might have family here, or they're looking to purchase a beautiful property. Whatever the case may be, there's definitely going to be a variance in what you're going to get here versus what you're going to get in the coast. And sometimes I kind of wish I was living in the coast, I'll be honest with you. But here's the thing. Our winters can be really, really annoying, bad, sucky, whatever word you want to use. It happens and it exists.
Throughout central Ohio, snow covered the area and piled up. From neighborhoods in Hilliard to the short north.
So here's what you need to know. For most of our clients, the heating bills can vary from $200, $300, even $400 dependent on the weather. And in the summertime, the cooling, well, it can get up to $150 or even $200. As I'm making this video, look, see, I'm sweating. That's how hot it is. And also that's the tenacity that I have when we're making these projects. You want to make sure that you have both a winter coat and flip-flops all year round. Am I wearing flip-flops right now? Absolutely. Older homes can have shockingly bad energy efficiencies. Newer homes oftentimes lack proper insulation, especially with the Midwestern seasons. And the basement flooding risks absolutely need to be taken into account and have to have preventive measures. Honestly, a pro tip here is you want to make sure you're budgeting for the seasons, and you want to make sure that you have an additional $400 to $500 saved up in case anything were to come. You know, one of the big things that we talk about is food. As many of you know, I like to amateurly bodybuild. I'm not big anymore. I'm cutting. But with that being said, I absolutely have to eat a lot. I'm eating about 5 times a day right now. That tends to add up. And our culinary scene and all the food that exists in Columbus, well, they have some surprising patterns. You know, there's definitely limited grocery stores in certain neighborhoods, especially when our clients are looking at new build opportunities and those master plan communities aren't completely finished yet. Sometimes people have to drive 10, 15, 20, even 30 minutes to potentially find something where they can actually shop around. Since 2023, there has been an above average price increase compared to the national price increase. Here in Columbus, it's over 7%. Nationally, it's over 5%. And as much as I love Kroger, their regional pricing models actually creates, well, higher costs compared to other Midwestern options. And seasonal product prices fluctuates dramatically based off of the weather. Listen, and here's the thing about restaurants that you absolutely have to know, because this came as a surprise to me as well. I love taking my team out to eat, and as I've told you, I love to just eat regularly. Now, for the most part, I tend to make food at home, $2 pasta, as I like to call it. Restaurants in downtown and short north, those prices, those junks get up there. And let me tell you, I've had dinner in Washington, I've had dinner in California, Florida, wherever you want to call it. The price point here is kind of the same as those areas, and that's the thing that really got me. But what's crazy to me is I see a bill for 4 people and it's over $300. Now, obviously we made sure that we, paid and things like that, duh. But when you're seeing that and you're putting a credit card there, it's like, damn, I could have made this at home. I could have made it much, much better too. And the other thing is I love to Grubhub. Let me rephrase. I used to love to Grubhub. The delivery fees, dude, those chunks get up there a lot. You want to make sure you have all of those considerations before you move. Are you a food junkie like me? Well, if you are, you're in luck. Reynoldsburg, Pataskala, Pickerton, go get some amazing Nepali food. But also take into consideration that when you want to go downtown and you want to eat, those price points, they're going to get up there. Now, a lot of our clients are looking in Dublin, in New Albany for a property. And if that's the case, obviously you're not going to have to worry about finding food downtown. But if you're living somewhere like Italian Village, German Village, or in that kind of ecosystem, then these are things that you absolutely have to factor in. Honestly, just go to the Asian district or to the west side to find some Mexican foods. Let me tell you, there's a lot of options that exist, a lot of hidden options that exist as well. What is your favorite food? Let me know what your favorite food is in the comments below, and I'll make a video about where I think you can find the best options for that here in season.
I don't even recognize myself from last year. Said she never needed no man, but when she with you, said she needs somebody.
We talked about property taxes, but what if I told you there's a hidden tax to living in Columbus that no one knows about? I call it the entertainment premium. OSU football ticket games cost between $150 and $300 if you can even find them. Columbus's Blue Jackets and cruise tickets costing 30% more compared to neighboring areas. And festival seasons, those expenses tend to add up. Food, parking, admissions, and everything else. There's also a big city cost for concerts and events, but there's also fewer options here compared to major cities. I have a friend named Rick. Rick was on a date a few months ago at the Ohio Festival. He got in, he paid for everything, and then he looked at his bill and he said, damn, I spent $200 here? And that's kind of how it is. When the games happen and then you're buying all the food and everything else like that, it tends to add up really quickly. You want to make sure that you have that budgeting factor there as well. Now, obviously, this isn't this massive deal, but when you are thinking about moving to Columbus, Ohio, these are things that you absolutely have to know. And hey, these are topics that no other realtor and no other professional is talking about. How many people are telling you about these things? Just us. And that's why you got to give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email when you're thinking about making a move here. We love making these videos. We really do. We love the opportunity to help you find a home. And don't even get me started with downtown parking. $30 to $50 for a major event. There's also limited public transport, and special event surge prices is just becoming the norm. But I got you with a pro tip. Most of these major events, they have volunteer option, which also gives you free admissions. Don't tell anyone, but if you want to go to these events, those are things to do. And also, it's just good for your soul, man. As many of you know, I have elderly parents. And as you might know, my parents are, well, they've got some things that they got to deal with, the health issues. One of the big things that I'm always thinking about is healthcare costs. And if you're maybe someone that has older parents, if you're thinking about maybe just yourself, these are factors that you absolutely have to take in. So the final thing that's pretty unexpected is healthcare costs. And there's 4 major things that no one really speaks about. There's a limited hospital network competition which drives up pricing. Insurance networks oftentimes excluding major facilities, specialist care oftentimes requiring more of a wait time or more out of pocket on your dime, and pharmacy prices vary drastically from neighborhood to neighborhood. And honestly, here's the other thing. With all these major employers actively making this home, one of the big things that you're thinking about is, hey, they're going to give me insurance, right? But here's the caveat. Most major opportunities and major companies are actually giving less insurance coverages than those larger markets. Ohio's insurance market is honestly a lot less competitive than its neighboring states. And supplemental insurance is, well, becoming a necessary thing for a lot of families. Obesity rates are high, depression is high, anxiety is high, everything that's happening with the world, as you already know, that's going to play a part when you are thinking about making a move. So make sure that you have the numbers intact. And here is the unequivocal truth. Columbus's healthcare costs are reaching the same price point as those bigger metros. And the pro tip, research insurance coverages super carefully before picking one. So what's the real financial picture of living in Columbus in 2025? Housing and utility have a lot more variance than advertised, up to $300 or even $400 a month. For transportation, there's a higher cost associated with it due to a lack of rail system and also a necessity for cars. With property taxes, it's potentially thousands more than other Midwestern cities. For food and entertainment, it's actually approaching the same prices as other major metros. And healthcare, well, it's a lot less competitive than you might expect. So at the same time, who should actually be concerned? Well, there's a few major groups of people that I'm really speaking to here. Number one, families sensitive to property tax variations, or if you have a specific budget that's specifically tied to a specific location. Commuters working in areas without a really good transit system, older home buyers that are actually going to have to do some of the maintenance for the older homes that do exist, and entertainment enthusiasts that are going to face the Columbus tax. So what's the bottom line? Well, Columbus is still definitely affordable compared to most coastal cities and most major markets. But you're going to need to add at least 10 to 15% to your budget compared to the cost of living calculator that you probably already have been looking at. There's actually still a lot of things with Columbus that you absolutely have to know. One of the most common things that we hear all the time is Columbus's growth is both unprecedented and unpredictable. You see, one day you've got a massive $30 billion project that's coming here, and the next, you don't know where it's going. One of the key things that you have to make sure that you understand, especially when moving to Columbus, Ohio as a whole, is this. There's so much growth happening here left and right. The number one, the traffic gets affected, which we'll talk about in a second. But number two, you just don't know where it's happening at the time. And it's not always sunshine and rainbows either. You see on my Instagram, which we'll put here, there's a ton of new growth opportunities happening. And because of that, for creation to exist, there must be destruction. Usually that's going to come in the form of old, historic, charming buildings that people love. And well, locals, they're not happy about this whatsoever. From housing projects that nobody wants to other mixed-use luxury rental buildings that nobody can afford. There's so many things that are being built, but not all the things that are being built here are for the working class. Now, sure, we help clients left and right, and sometimes if they need an apartment that's $3,500 to $4,000 a month, we've got them taken care of. But at the same time, for most people, that's just kind of out of the range, and that's not really what they're looking for as a whole. A lot of the clients that are reaching out to us, they're looking at new construction and new build, either in places like Pataskala and Reynoldsburg, or maybe even Dublin. And if that's the case, one of the big things that we gotta understand is a lot of the land that's being taken out, well, it's gonna be farmland for farmers. Columbus is growing so fast, and while that sounds like a really good thing, it means that one historic neighborhood in one area, the next day it's going to be gentrified with bougie and boutique coffee shops that are $7 a pop, and out-of-staters that are living there that are driving up the cost of living. So take all these things into consideration. There's a lot of growth happening, but what kind of growth is happening? And is it for the people or is it for the companies? You see, a lot of the clients that are reaching out to us left and right, they're working in high-paying jobs. But at the same time, nobody wants to pay a little bit more than they have to. Usually one of the most frequent conversations that we have to have is about pricing, and it's not a fun conversation to have, but at the same time, it has to be realistic when people are looking at places. And let me tell you, Columbus in specific areas, maybe Dublin, New Albany, Powell, the Olentangy School District, well, they're definitely more expensive. But one of the facts that you got to consider is there's a ton of hidden neighborhoods that you don't know about that are definitely on the cheaper end as a whole. But that's going to come at a price. You see, everyone talks about Short North, German Village, but Columbus has a whole bunch of underrated neighborhoods that fly under the radar. Gagan, the Hilltop, and parts of the south side are still relatively underpriced and super undiscovered. If you're looking for a place to grow and you're looking at areas that really aren't known as well as other places, well, that's going to be the place for you. And listen, if you're a first-time home buyer or you're a savvy investor, that's exactly where you're going to look. But at the same time, this is going to have a cost associated with it, and that's going to be safety. And it's not me saying this. Neighborhood Scout, Realtor.com, and all of these other websites, they show that parts of Hilltop, parts of Linden, and a lot of these other locations as a whole, even though it costs less to live there, at the same time, the safety really isn't the best compared to these other locations.
New tonight, the Columbus City Attorney's Property Action Team boarded up a home in Linden.
So make sure you take all those things into consideration. How safe is it? How comfortable is it? And ultimately, is it a place that you actually feel like you can raise your kids, or just a place where you feel like you can call it home? You see, one of the craziest things about Columbus is the numbers, well, they can be a little misleading. You see, for a lot of our clients, the most important thing, obviously, is going to be safety, right? And when you take safety into consideration, there's going to be specific subsets of the neighborhoods and the communities that, well, just aren't as safe as others. Now, you see, I was talking to Jen and David a few months back, and they were thinking about making a move to Columbus. And here's what they said. They said, listen, I'm willing to pay as much as I have to pay. I want to know that my daughter, when she goes to school, she's going to be in a good school district, in a good area. And I said, listen, you're not the first person to actually say that. And at the same time, that we got to understand that all these things are going up in price point, people are willing to pay that pretty penny if it means they're going to be safe and they know they've got that peace of mind. Yeah, let me tell you, it's like 65 degrees here, and it finally feels like summer. It's not summer, it's March, but it feels so nice.
Now your life is like a movie, club down in LA. And you switching on your old friends, they just can't relax. Say that you can see what.
Places like Fringleton's and South Linden, they're definitely seeing a lot of growth and a lot of development projects, but at the same time, they definitely got crime rates as well. And let me tell you, every part in Columbus, obviously it's gonna have pockets of crime. Places like the Short North Art District, that's where a lot of the heroin is located. And these aren't things that people are gonna tell you, but I wanna make sure you know all this information. Before actually making that move to Columbus, look at the pockets of crime. Look at the areas that you feel the most safe in, and ultimately figure out where specifically you want to go. Is it the urban setting? Is it the suburban vibe? Is it a juxtaposition of both of those things? Figure those out and see what's tailored to you. And if you want our professional opinion and you want the professional opinion of our loan partners and our real estate partners, all of our information is in the description below. We'd love the opportunity to collaborate with you and just answer any questions that you have to ultimately make this move a smooth ride. You know what always sucks is when clients are coming here, and I gotta kind of burst the bubble a little bit. They always think that Columbus is gonna be cheap cost of living, or the cost association is gonna be less than a lot of the places. And well, it's just not the case. You see, Henry came here because he had a job that was lined up at OSU. And we said, hey, listen, you can work here, you can live there, it's all good to go. He looked at his final mortgage payment and he was absolutely shocked. He's like, this is the actual amount? I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry. Now, we had previously discussed that the rates were high. We discussed every single thing that was involved with it from PITI. But at the end of the day, when you see that paper in your hand, there's gonna be that level of fear. Now, Henry did end up buying that property with our real estate partner, and he loves the place, he loves his job, he loves everything. But the one thing that always makes my stomach kind of twist up is the fact that when people are seeing these mortgage payments and they are seeing these numbers, it's a little bit on the higher end. And it's not just for my clients making 75 to 80, it's also for my clients making $200,000 more. You see, a lot of these properties, they've definitely gone up in property value, and especially with the property taxes as a whole, it's really not going to be a pretty picture. A lot of homes now have HOA, electrical, and on top of that, you got water, sewer, the whole shebang. You want to make sure that you're careful. Now, parts of Columbus, well, the water is taken care of, so you're good to go there. But other parts, they're not. New construction homes, they're going to be, well, much more expensive, up to $100,000 more than the homes a year before if those homes go on market. Now, while the cost of living is cheaper than the coastal cities, it's not as cheap as it used to be. Rent in central areas like Victorian Village and Italian Village can run up to as $1,800 for a two-bedroom apartment. Even groceries and gas prices have been steadily climbing. The days of Columbus being an affordable city, well, they just might be numbered. If you want something a little bit cheaper, maybe look at Grove City, maybe look at Clintonsville. Maybe look at, further places outside of Columbus as a whole. A lot of the clients that are reaching out to us, they don't actually live in Columbus. They're living in suburban areas surrounding Columbus. And if you're thinking, oh, I don't want to be weird, I don't want to live in a suburb when I'm supposed to move to Columbus, don't think that at all. Everyone does that. This next one might get me killed. He's not gonna like this one for sure. A buddy of mine was out to drink a couple of nights ago. When he texted me, he said, yo, bro, can you pick me up? This was like 1 in the morning. Thankfully, I was playing League of Legends. You're welcome. But he said, can you pick me up? And I was like, sure. Picked him up. We had a whole conversation. And he goes, dude, the public transportation here sucks. And I was like, bro, it's 1 a.m. What do you expect? But you know what? Talking back to that notion, our public transportation, albeit that definitely doesn't apply here, it's kind of a joke. Now, the Transit Authority, they are working on some things. And well, Link US might be a fantastic innovative project. But as of right now, if you are living in Columbus, Columbus is a city where you need a car. Our public transportation, it's definitely not the best. And especially with the growing population holistically, we definitely need some kind of countermeasures to make sure that we can combat this. The last thing that we want is people to be gridlocked and not be able to see our beautiful city. And if more and more individuals are coming here left and right, and we don't have the public transportation to meet the needs of the people, oh, that's exactly what's going to happen. And especially in the winter months too, let me tell you, it's kind of unreliable. You see, you want to make sure that when you are moving to Columbus, you have a car. And a lot of you guys, especially as you are coming here, you got a car. Let's just say that, you're chilling. But I want to make sure that even on those nights out, and if anything were to happen, you have a secondary mechanism to actually get from point A to point B. Now, if it's the middle of the night, it's going to be an Uber or a designated driver. If it's sometime during the daytime, well, you want to make sure you have that taken care of as well. You see, Agni, which translates to fire in Hindi, which is ranked as one of the best restaurants in all of Columbus. And I had mentioned this on my Instagram page. People love Agni. And then people started reaching out to me talking about, hey, what are the restaurants like? What are the bars like in the whole shebang? Now, I'm not a food vlogger. I've never been a food vlogger. I don't claim to be a food vlogger like Bryce Hall.
Boxer. I'm not a fighter. I've never claimed to be a fighter. I'm gonna knock out Austin because I'm an actual fighter.
But at the same time, people were kind of genuinely mad at me when I told them that we had option A, B, and C, and they were looking for D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. That doesn't make sense. Guys, stop comparing us to New York City and California when it comes to food. We're not like Miami either. And I think a lot of people tend to misplace our specific proximity and designation purely because Columbus is so hip and doodah. You see, we definitely are growing, and our rhetoric of Midwestern, it's kind of questionable. But we are nothing, and I mean nothing, like places like Miami, even Texas, or parts of California. Now, we have a growing food scene for sure. And if you want some authentic Nepali food, you go to Reynoldsburg. That's what you do. But if you want to compare food scenes, we're not like those crazy places that you see in the coastal areas. If you want to get a culinary mecca, then you obviously have Chicago, which isn't too far away. But at the same time, you're coming to Columbus for the culture. You're coming to Columbus for the cheaper cost of living. I know we just, kind of an oxymoron to the fact that it's not cheap anymore, right? But you're not just coming here for the food. And I want to preface something by this statement too. We've got 3 Panda Expresses that are coming here. 1 in Dublin, 1 in New Albany, and 1 in South Columbus. I'm super excited about all 3 of these things. We have more restaurants coming, but as of right now, if you are thinking about living in Columbus, Ohio, or moving to Columbus, Ohio, the food scene really isn't cataclysmic like you think it should be. You see, there's a saying when it comes to food. It can be quick, it can be good, and it can be cheap. It can't be all 3. And that's the exact same thing when it comes to Columbus. You see, a lot of these homes, especially when our clients are looking at properties, the one thing is this: it can be cheap. Usually it's not going to be good. It can be good, but it's not going to be cheap. And if you're looking to build, it's not going to be fast. Especially in today's day and age, with every single thing that's happening in the United States economy, let me tell you like it is, it's going to be hard to get material. You see, right now, as of shooting this video, today is March 11th. And as we know it, inflation should be periodically down. The stock market has seen the worst day since 2020. Whoa. And a lot of people are completely uncertain about what specifically is going to happen. You see, I'm going to put a screenshot right here of what my clients are telling me and how scared they're feeling about the entire situation. And these 2 things, albeit you wouldn't think they go hand in hand, they do. You see, one of the biggest challenges that we're facing right now is inflation and affordability. And if everything starts going down, the bond market actually starts going up, what's going to happen? Rates are going to go lower. So we're seeing a lot of things conject and a lot of things actually come together, but we don't know when that's going to be. A lot of homes, especially here in Columbus, well, they're going to go through some peeling of paint. They're going to need some working on the siding. Maybe a furnace is broke, the roof is 30 years old. Who knows? So make sure you have all those things taken into consideration. If you're looking for something that's pitch perfect, then moving to Columbus isn't going to be the right fit for you. One of the most common memes that you're gonna see in the wintertime when living in Columbus is, you're not depressed, you're just living in Ohio. And it kind of does make sense when you think about it. You see, seasonal affective disorder, it's a real thing, especially here, right? Our winters, they get gray. And we've had some pretty nice days recently. The sun's been shining, weather in the 60s, 50s. But for the most part, before this, Jon Snow winter was coming, well, that was a real deal. You see, in the summertime, it gets really in the 90s, 80s. But during the wintertime, it tends to get super brutally cold. Now, our winters haven't been that crazy bad, but there's definitely gonna be a few days throughout the wintertime where you're like, dang, maybe I should just pack my bags and go to Florida. And this is a huge thing that people just don't understand. You see, when you're moving to Columbus, you think it's gonna be this Midwestern state, and for the most part, it is. We've got our fair shares of tornadoes that are happening outside of the central Columbus area. But at the same time, we have our winters, we have our cold, and we have our snow. Make sure that you have all of these things in consideration even before you make that move. Take all of these factors and ultimately figure out if it's even the right place for you. You see, one big thing that you gotta understand is that Columbus, well, you're a sports town. And I keep regurgitating this back and forth over and over and over because it's true. You see, OSU games, they're fire. Columbus Crew, oh yeah, what's gonna happen? In fact, some parts of the World Cup are actually gonna happen here in 2026. So take all those things into consideration. If you're not a sports junkie, it's time to become one. And if you're really just not a fan of sports at all, well, Columbus might not be the place for you. We have OSU. It is a fancy, bougie, amazing college. But at the same time, we love our sports teams. We love watching those games. And well, we love the fact that we love it. And we're proud of this too. Make sure you take that into consideration. All of these things that I've told you, well, some people actually regret coming to Columbus, Ohio because of them. And the clients that are reaching out to us daily, well, one of the big things is, I didn't realize this, that, and the third. And we want to make sure that you have all those things in consideration.
Do you really know Columbus? When people talk about Columbus, they talk about the Buckeyes, the friendly Midwestern charm, and honestly, how you can still get a house without selling your soul, right? But let me tell you something, all this stuff that used to define us in the past, it doesn't exist anymore in today's reality. Neighborhoods that were hidden gems, they're packed to the brim. Traditions that used to define us have completely gone astray. In fact, I got clients that moved here 2 years ago that were just saying, wait, what the heck is happening to the Columbus that I knew? From late night diners to the legendary Drive Bar, there's so many things that have changed that's going to make your head spin. So today we're gonna dive into the 20 things about Columbus that are just no longer true. And some of these things are going to blow your mind, especially if you're planning on moving here sometime in the future. It may even surprise you if you've lived here forever and just been untouched with everything. What's up guys, Gagan here, your favorite realtor. And listen, Columbus has been on this wild ride in the past few years. It's like it just woke up one day and said, great, let me reinvent myself in a way that no one has ever seen it before. Parts of me absolutely love it, and other parts of me are like, this is the same Columbus as 5 years ago? Honestly, between you and me, here's the thing about this city, is that it never sits still. And if you want to live here, you have to know what's real and what used to be real. Listen, if you're ever hungry 2 in the morning, this is gonna be a little painful. All right, let's get started with ripping off the Band-Aid right away. And honestly, it hurts some of us nighttime owls a lot. Death to the late night diner. Now look, there used to be a time where it didn't matter whether it was 11 p.m. or 4 a.m. You knew exactly where to go, right? Thurman Cafe was your go-to. The White Castle on Broad Street, it was a rite of passage. And places like the Sardine Diner, they kept you fed when the bars shut down. You'd be standing in line half asleep with a juxtaposition or a myriad of every single kind of person, from OSU students to the guys getting off of their shifts to people in scrubs, all united by one amazing cause. Greasy late night food. But now a lot of these spots have cut their hours. Some of them have completely shut down. It kind of feels like Columbus said, great, we're gonna drop this late night option and go for brunches and DoorDash. And don't get me wrong, delivery apps are awesome, but it just does not hit the same as sitting 3 a.m. with a hash brown in your hand, some coffee that could wake the dead, and you're thinking to yourself, what am I doing with my life? It's just one of those little pieces of Columbus culture that's just not true anymore. Honestly, it feels like it was just yesterday when we could go outside and do exactly this, but Columbus is changing fast. And honestly, so are its suburbs and locations. Because the second thing is this, the short north, it's kind of having an identity crisis. I remember walking down High Street on the short north. stepping over cracked sidewalks, neon lights buzzing, and music spilling over every single door. Now it's almost unrecognizable. If you've been around Columbus for a long time, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It was the heart of the Columbus identity. It's grimy in the best way possible. You'd walk past galleries that you've never heard of, smell a copy from Cuff Up Joe, and catch a band at Scully's that somehow became your next obsession. But today, it's a whole different vibe over there. Major construction has turned small lots into 10-story buildings, some with residential, commercials, and mixed-use properties. Luxury apartments are coming up everywhere. Boutique hotels seem to be the new norm, and valet parking is on every single corner. Some people love the upgrade, saying it's safer, it just feels better, but others are saying it's lost its charm and that it's sold its soul for condos and craft cocktails. I had a client of mine look at Short North from Chicago, and honestly, when she came here, she was extremely surprised. She got a text saying this feels like a mini Manhattan with a gallery hop. She wanted that artsy vibe, but that vibe is non-existent, and honestly, it's one of the truths that people have to know. It's actually pretty incredible how a neighborhood can flip this fast, but it can. And the Short North is an embodiment of how fast things can really change. And we're only on the second thing. Stick around, because topic number 14 and 19, I've literally never, ever heard anyone talk about. When we made this, my assistant was like, dude, you're right. Let's talk about that too. Let's talk about another neighborhood, because it's not just hip districts, guys. It's also other ones. Even our most traditional neighborhoods, they're not safe from change. German Village used to be this hidden gem that locals love to show off to all the out-of-state tourists. We're talking about brick streets, houses with those tiny little flowers, and Smith's Sausage House, which you only go to twice a year during a special occasion. It felt like stepping back into a time machine, and most of the people that were walking there, most of the foot traffic was tourists looking at this and looking at that. But now, German Village is a spot where young professionals are fighting tooth and nail just to live in. Approximately 3,000 individuals live in an 1800 structure of German Village today. And those tiny houses that used to be charming courtesies are now selling at a price point right now that will make your grandma faint. I've actually had clients of mine offer up to $20,000 to $30,000 on a 900 square foot cottage with no parking. And unfortunately, this is a reality as it gets, because German Village is still quaint and beautiful. And a lot of the clients that are reaching out to us, that's one of the first locations that they're mentioning. And I get it, but at the same time, German Village is getting so much national recognition that almost everyone that I know wants to live there, or at the very least invest there a little bit. And the neighborhood went from, yeah, I'm gonna take my cousin to visit there, to that's a place that I wish I could afford, but I will never be able to. It's still gorgeous, don't get me wrong, but German Village has absolutely transformed from a quaint, little quiet area to a tourist destination. And unfortunately, for many of my clients that are looking to relocate to Columbus, Ohio, it has become one of the most competitive housing markets in the entire city. And you know, combining with this, I'm gonna tell you something that's gonna really hit close to home. I actually have a lot of cousins, siblings of mine that are just going to college. They love OSU because number one, they're getting in-state tuition, and number two, it's OSU. The biggest problem or shift that we're noticing right now is they're not able to afford to live in those apartments close by to OSU, as well many of their comrades and people in the past have done. It felt like a rite of passage. You live right there on Campus Corner, those areas around Lane Avenue where you're not actually living in the school, but close enough to it with cheap, affordable apartments where you can bring your friends to. It was areas where kids could feel independent and survive off a part-time job and maybe just a little help from their mom and dad. But now even the student housings have gone absolutely bananas. Even just a 1-bedroom or 2-bedroom, it can go up from $800 to $1,200 a pop. That's more than some people's entire rent just 5 years ago. I've had students tell me that they're literally relocating to Delaware or even Westerville because they cannot afford to live close by to OSU. And this isn't just out-of-town rich kids either. This is people that have been Buckeye fans from day one through and through, people that are living in Columbus for their entire life. The notion that we are a cheap college town, yeah, it's just not true anymore. You know, speaking about housing costs, here's something that used to be a gospel in Columbus real estate. For the longest time, folks would say, man, I can't afford to live in Bexley, Upper Arlington, or Dublin. I'm just gonna go to places like Reynoldsburg, Pataskala, or even Grove City. And that was the move, right? A couple of years ago, you used to be able to drive 20 to 30 minutes outside of the city limits and get a house for twice the size for half the cost, and even have money left over for a Buckeye season ticket. Now, even the suburbs are flexing their price point. That's gonna make your wallet cry. It's not unusual for homes in Pickerton or in Hilliard to go for the same price that areas like German Village and the inner city limits used to go for. And folks that thought that they were going to find something in Grove City are looking in places like Delaware, in Johnstown, and even Marysville, way up north. I was working with a couple that was moving here from Nebraska a few months ago, right? We started our journey in Westerville, but then we eventually got to Mount Vernon when we started writing our offers. That's a long distance. And here's the reason why. The ka-ching here didn't meet the ka-chong there. Listen, the notion of drive till you qualify is pushing so many people out. It's farther than most people's vacation destinations. But hey, real quick, if you're thinking about making Columbus, Ohio home, or you have any aspirations of visiting Columbus whatsoever, our team, we help people buy, sell, and relocate right here in the Columbus Metroplex every single day. So if you're thinking about making that move, click the link below. All of our information is in the description and pinned to the top of the comments. Here's something that's actually a positive change. Downtown Columbus for years used to just be a dead zone after 5 p.m. You drive downtown after 7 p.m. and it looked like a zombie apocalypse. There was absolutely nothing to do, there was no one there, and all the shops were closed up. We used to joke that Columbus used to roll up its sidewalks at 5 p.m. Now, downtown is actually alive. 23 new restaurants have opened downtown this year, the most in recent years' numbers. You've got people living in those high-rises, people walking their dogs, folks just looking for some options for dinner, and honestly, a nightlife that doesn't require a 15 to 20-minute drive away. The Arena District is hopping on non-game nights, and the Scioto Mile, well, there's actually things to do there, and people enjoy the ambiance and the location. Listen, I'm going to tell you a sentence that you would have never heard in Columbus 10 years ago, and it's this right here. It was said to me by a client of mine that moved here from Cincinnati for work. She said, Gagan, I thought I would have to go and drive 20 minutes out just to hang out with my friends, but I can do it right here. And that was her exact tone as well. That was exactly the same tone. But what's funny is people think that downtown Columbus is, well, it's dead. And to a point, if you compare it to major cities like LA, Miami, and Seattle, of course it is. But even things like Kansas City, for example, right, and other area metros that are similar in population, I would even compare it to Austin. I think we actually have things to do and people that enjoy doing those things. All right, look, the John Glenn International Airport used to be the punchline of every single conversation. I'm gonna tell you something that's crazy, all right? You ready? Folks would drive to Cincinnati or Cleveland just to get better flight options. The airport was small, there was limited routes, and kind of felt like this massive bus station rather than an international airport. The joke was this: yeah, Columbus has airports, but good luck going anywhere from it. The plans to build a new terminal in the airport, yeah, it's gone a long way in the last year. Obviously, as you know, I run in the Columbus Report, right, which is the fastest growing media cohort in the entire city of Columbus. And we actually talked about this prior, and people were going absolutely ballistics. Ballistic? Ballistic. The new terminal is going to cost $2 billion with a B. Listen, this isn't just renovation. This is Columbus saying you cannot laugh at me anymore. Even now, before the terminal has actually opened, flight options have absolutely exploded. Combine this with Breeze Airway making home to Columbus, and we're having so much more local flights for a lot cheaper, and people love to see it. We're seeing direct flights that used to require 2 nonstops, international options that actually exist, and honestly, we're seeing companies and airlines saying Columbus isn't just a step over location anymore. One of my clients that flies for work told me this: I haven't gone to Cincinnati in over 3 years, and it's been so refreshing just to fly out of my own hometown. And you know, combine this with another option. We talked about the air, let's talk about the ground. For years, COTA, or the Central Ohio Transit Authority, it was essentially invisible. COTA buses were something that you just never really thought about unless you had no other option. The routes were limited, the scheduled times were more of a suggestion than anything else, and the general consensus or way of thinking was this: why would I take the bus when I have a car? But things are transforming. The Link US Rapid Transit Project is bringing real bus rapid transit to Columbus with dedicated lanes and stations that look more like light rail than traditional bus stops. I've actually had young professionals ask me where the BRT lines are going to be and if we can find any options nearby because they want to ditch their car payments. That is a statement that you have never, ever heard in Columbus, Ohio, and that's pretty big. But don't get me wrong, Columbus will probably never, ever be a city where people just completely rely on public transportation. However, the conversation has definitely shifted from who takes the bus to maybe the bus is an option. And honestly, that's a shift that I've never thought that I would see in the city. And if you think that's a big one, just wait. And combining with this a little tad bit here as well, on Gay Street, they're actually building a walkable district. It's going to be 2 miles. I made a post about that on my Instagram. Here's the post right here. Take a look at it. But it got a ton of comments. If you're interested in learning more about that, just watch the video here. But if you think this is big, wait till we talk about topic number 14 and 17. Again, I've literally never heard anyone mention these ever in my life. And these are big, big things, especially if you're living in Columbus, Ohio, or moving to Columbus, Ohio. Remember when Easton opened up and it was the only option for Central Ohio shopping? Well, now it's not. Years, if you wanted real shopping options, you would go to Easton. It was the cooler older brother of every other area. Outdoor walkway, restaurants, movie theaters, and stores that you just couldn't find anywhere else in Columbus. But now, Easton's got some serious competition, guys. Polaris Fashion Place? Yeah, it's coming up. Bridge Park has essentially created a brand new lifestyle that competes with Easton, and even the old dead malls are getting reimagined. The mall at Tuttle Crossing isn't just surviving, it's thriving with new reimagined concepts and entertainment options. And if you didn't know, Polaris Fashion Place actually just got sold to an investor. It was just purchased by O'Connor's Capital Group, and the company is planning on doing 3 major things: elevating it through leasing, active management, and continued focus on community. And just another hint in case you didn't know Columbus was growing, these guys have another 3.27 million square feet of manufacturing space near Rickenbacker. 3 million. Back to the movement at hand, Easton isn't the only place that you have to look when you want a good shopping option. Listen, I still love Easton, right? They've got Indochino right there. That's where I get all of my suits from, and it's custom tailored, which is super cool. Indochino, sponsor this video, please. But besides the point, there's a lot of options now. And for my clients that are living in the west side and maybe just further up north or even down south, there's a lot of places nearby to them where they don't have to drive 30 minutes just to go to Easton. The whole Easton or bus mentality, yeah, that doesn't exist here anymore. This one might surprise a lot of long-term residents of Columbus, but you don't need to drive to Cincinnati or Cleveland for culture anymore. Columbus used to have that little brother complex when it came to culture and art. Sure, we had COSI and we had a few art museums here. But if you wanted world-class theater, world-class music, or a world-class exhibition, you had to make a road trip. Now, the Columbus Museum of Art is holding travel exhibitions that could match and rival anything in Chicago. Yeah, I said it. The Ohio Theater is bringing Broadway shows regularly. Venues like Express Line and the Newport Music Halls, they're getting options that wasn't prevalent here a few years ago. We have film festivals, art walks, and cultural events that happen year-round. I had a client of mine move here from Boston, right? And one of the biggest things that she was nervous about was this cultural desert. 6 months later, and she's saying she's way busier here than ever in Boston, and it's also like 50% cheaper. And that's just not something that you would have heard about Columbus culture 5 years ago. The area around OSU used to have one demographic: students. And it made sense, right? You had college right there, you had pizza, you had cheap apartments, and everything else like that. And honestly, if you didn't work at the university or weren't studying there, you had no reason for even hanging around in the area. OSU is attracting everyone, from young professionals to empty nesters to people that just want to be a part of that scene. People that want short north energy, but not short north prices. Housing in the area isn't just dorms anymore either. It's actually legitimate, nice apartments that people can utilize all throughout. And the dining scene and the entertainment scene, it's definitely shifted a lot. It used to just be pizza and wings and hey, that's all you really need, right? But now you've got legitimate options that you can walk to from this location or that. I've actually got clients of mine that are in their 30s that are like, hey, listen, if I want something walkable without having to pay what short north costs, I'm actually looking at these areas as a whole, and there's really no contradiction to that statement whatsoever. I have friends of mine that are getting their masters and PhDs, and they love the fact that there's so much change happening, but they can also understand, especially if you're just a student, this can add up a lot. Talk about another location as well. Grandview Heights used to be one of those places that you just drove through to get from point A to point B. The joke was always this: you're in Grandview Heights, so you're just looking to get to Arlington, right? But now Grandview Heights has legitimately become a dining and a shopping destination. The restaurant scene rivals the city, and there's places that number one have wait lists and number two are getting national recognition. The area has developed this cool neighborhood vibe that's drawing people in from every location. I've had multiple clients of mine tell me that they want to look at Grandview Heights, not even because they're working there or because they have family there, but because they want to be part of the scene. They want to be a part of what's happening And that's happening in Grandview Heights. What they're telling me is this: I want to have multiple options where I can just walk these locations and actually be excited about the fact that I get to choose what to eat. Let's combine this with another location. Dublin and Powell used to be suburbs that were just kid-friendly, good schools, and quaint. They didn't really have the urban amenities that people were looking for. Now, that's changing, and that's changing fast. The Dublin Bridge Park is, in essence, another short north, but I think a little bit safer. There's tons of dining options, tons of high-rise condos, and a bunch of options just for people to go out and enjoy the scene. And if you've ever seen the sunset from the park, it's absolutely beautiful. Powell also isn't a slouch to this at all. We're talking about building its own town center with tons of entertainment options and dining options as well. And what's ironic about creating these videos is you might think that it's just people that are not living in Columbus, Ohio, but actually it's people from all across, especially living in Columbus, that are calling us and saying, Gagan, clearly you guys know the markets, clearly you guys know all the suburbs. We want to still use you as a realtor of choice. And that's amazing, because the reason I bring that up is we've had clients that were living in the heart of downtown Columbus that saved up money and they're buying a house in Dublin. One of the biggest worries that they had was they were going to lose that entertainment scene. But after going to Bridge Park, they texted me and said one thing: I had nothing to worry about. And if you're a family, if you're a young professional, even if you're just an empty nester, all of that is things that you're going to obviously take into consideration, right? I'm going to combine this with something that honestly I don't even want to talk about, but I have to. Columbus isn't cheap anymore. You know, back in the days, what were you gonna say? You're gonna say just drive 20, 30 minutes out, and all those suburbs, all those areas, you're gonna get twice the size for half the cost. It was easy to say. It was a real city with real opportunities for half the price point. But now, those areas, those homes, and even those apartments, they're getting up to the expensive number. Now, albeit we're not the same thing as New York City or San Francisco, but also look at our populace, look at our size. There's no point in comparing us to those markets. Kansas City, for example, even Michigan and parts of Illinois, yeah, we're actually getting a lot more expensive. And for people that are already living here, that's not a good thing. Compare this to the fact that the wages have not kept up with the demand of all these buildings. And yeah, it's not going to be the prettiest equation whatsoever. Now, what's ironic about this is a lot of the clients that are reaching out to us, they're making six-figure salaries. They've got steady incomes. But even at that, with the higher rates that exist right now, yeah, all these things have to be taken into consideration. And if it sounds like I'm scaring you, I'm not. I just want to give you all the evidence. I want to give you all the numbers because I want you to make the best decision possible. I love Columbus. I said it. I love Columbus. I will probably love Columbus more than anything ever. But I also understand that Columbus isn't without its downsides, and there's a lot of things about it that aren't perfect. I wish people made these videos for us when we moved to Columbus a few years ago, but that's why we're making these videos for you. If any of these things stopping you from moving to Columbus, great. If any of these things aren't stopping you from moving to Columbus, also great. Combine this with something else amazing. I am a connoisseur of the cream of ice. Ice cream, as you want to call it. Ask anyone that lives in Columbus, Ohio, and they're going to give you a monologue filled with energy and vocation. It used to be the gem of the North Market. Jenny's Splendid Ice Cream used to be the place where you had Brown Brittle, amazing ice cream names that were just so unique, and you had to try. And now it's nationally recognized. There's lines outside the door, and it's in every single grocery store. It used to be, hey, let's go try out this ice cream spot, to, you haven't heard of Jenny's? Are you crazy? And listen, you're probably gonna need some Jenny's ice cream because what I'm gonna tell you next is going to suck. And yeah, it's just not the fun thing, because Ohio State season tickets, they're getting expensive. You know, we have a ton of people that are moving to Columbus that love the Buckeye games. We're talking about it being a ritual with their dad to watch it on a Saturday or a Sunday. Now they're grown up and they want to go watch it with their kids and continue the tradition on. But these tickets, they're expensive. I mean, sure, big games were pretty tough, right? And the wait list for these seasonal tickets was a few years. Now it's turning into decades. Now, if you want to go watch a regular game, you can expect to pay the same amount as your car payment. Forget about Michigan and forget about those playoff games as well, because those are luxury. We're talking about die-hard Buckeye fans that just cannot get a spot. And it sucks, because I understand how important sports are to you. I understand how important it is to you to watch these games, but you got to know all these things as well. Now let's talk about something that has come full circle, the brewery district.
The brewery district actually got its name from Schmidt's Brewery, but for years it was just a name. For years it was just residential buildings and, you know, some stores here and there, but nothing crazy. But now it's back to life. Craft brewery has absolutely exploded here in Columbus, Ohio, and places like Brewdog's and so many other massive facilities are making this home. If you're a connoisseur of alcohol or just a connoisseur of beers, the brewery district is amazing. I have a lot of my clients that are telling me, listen, I love a good beer, maybe on a Thursday, Friday night after long weeks of work. And now I feel like I can actually do that again. And that's a powerful, powerful statement. You know, we're making this video while the Ohio State Fair is happening, and I hope you're actually going out and enjoying it because there's a lot of really cool new foods that you absolutely have to try. We're talking about things like pickle fried hot dogs and also fried tacos. Fried tacos. Yeah. But here's the thing about the fair and the location of it. It was actually not the best. A few years ago, it was just a dead zone. After the fair, people wouldn't even go there or traverse those locations. But development around the area, especially now, has been absolutely incredible. There's a revitalization plan that's not just happening with the fairground, but also the neighborhood and the other markets surrounding it as a whole. What used to be a part of the town that you'd mostly avoid is now seeing revitalization, housing efforts, new businesses, all coming to this one spot. Team is actively showing houses in these areas that a few years ago, yeah, we might have just been a little bit more hesitant on. Now they're actually active, up-and-coming neighborhoods that are just really, really great. You always gotta do the yin and the yang, right? Obviously, we talked about something really amazing. Let's talk about something that kind of sucks. You can't really afford free parking. Ironically, as the statement sounds, let me talk about that a little bit. Parking isn't free anymore. At the very least, a few years ago, it was. Maybe even just a few bucks, right? Nothing crazy where you wouldn't care. But now, parking is so insanely expensive. We're talking about places that used to cost $5 costing $5 plus $5 plus $5 and another $5 just for good measures. We're talking about places that used to be free that aren't free anymore, and we're talking about a congested downtown that absolutely has way too many cars. Even the meters that used to be open till about 6, 7, yeah, they're going way later into the evening. It's definitely not as bad as bigger cities, but maybe just for a casual day or, you know, you want to go out, you're gonna have to take all of these things into consideration. All right, let's talk about the last thing. Intel has changed everything, and it's not even here yet. Now, I want to make sure we address the entire notion of Intel. Intel is bringing a $20 billion mega fab company to New Albany, which in return has absolutely dramatically driven up the home prices. We're getting calls from people from California, Oregon, Washington telling me it's time that I start looking at Columbus, and Columbus is no longer just a Midwestern city. But here's the other thing. As Intel has slowed down tremendously, the CEO has also mentioned that the Ohio project, it's not on their top things to take a look at for 2025 or 2026. We've also spent close to $7 billion in federal and local government incentivization to keep Intel here. So why am I bringing it up? What cause is there for, well, the notion? It's this. In my opinion, and this is just my opinion, I think Intel's gonna get bought out. I think TSMC, maybe NVIDIA, something is going to bring something here. We just gotta look at the paper trail. We just had to look at the numbers. New Albany Co. bought 1,200 acres of land in Marysville. Why? Why did they do that? These are all things that I'm thinking about and things that I'm actively thinking about for all of our investors and all of our clients. Why are all these companies still looking at Columbus? If it's completely stopped, then why is Andrew, Amgen, the new bank, Igor, why are all their headquarters being built here? Why? What's in the $60 billion budget that we have to know about? Right, all of these things are my job to figure out so I can make sure we can serve the clients the best. But I also think that we're gonna see so much development and so much growth that one project is not going to be the end all be all.
Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed that. That was probably like an hour and a half, and that took us way too long to make. I only have one request. If you watched the entire thing, well, I have two requests. Number one, can you just let me know I watched the entire thing in the bottom? That would mean the world to me. And number two, if you're ever thinking about buying or selling real estate in Columbus, Ohio, or just anywhere in Central Ohio, would you give our team a call? Would you shoot us a text? Would you let us know that this is the decision that you wanted to make and you saw these videos? It would mean a lot to us. We love making these videos. We sell houses for a living. I got you one more gift. This is the ultimate playlist for everything Columbus. Watch it. I'll see you soon. Peace.